What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It is Monday. I'd say a Victory Monday because you're undefeated. Every Monday is a Victory Monday. And also, it is game week. Hope you enjoyed the bye, but it is time to win those boots up there in Louisville. Oh, getting a important call. Pete, hop in because I got to hop out.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? As always, the show brought to you by the law offices of Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733 to take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. So as we wait for D to get back on here, you have to take an important call there. Be holding it down here for you. I know D did a show yesterday kind of talking about his thoughts around college football from the weekend. So crazy weekend, obviously. I think 7 teams, ranked teams lost here, including Oregon at home. I got to toot my own horn a little bit there. I said last week multiple times I thought Indiana would win that game. And I'm a believer in Oregon, right? So that wasn't really the biggest shock, the most surprising thing in the world to me. You got a hell of a coach in Signetti. You have a great quarterback, a winner, a guy who looks like a surefire first-round pick right now in Fernando Mendoza, and they've surrounded him with a lot of talent over there. So good win for Indiana. But of course, it is game week for the Canes here. 2 bye weeks in 3 weeks here. Not very fun. But the team needed that rest without a doubt, after some physical ball games there. And they've obviously been a little bit nicked up, nothing too crazy. We continue to keep our fingers crossed there, but and it's something that we've talked about a lot, that the team has been relatively healthy at this point of the season, and you're gearing up here now for the ACC stretch here, as you have Louisville this week, and it looks like we have D here with us now.
What's up? What's going on? Pete, I got a scoop for you. This scoop is brought to you by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, could be entitled to significant compensation, dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Also want to shout out Green Tree Canines. I know you're watching the show. Appreciate you sending me that polo here. But got a scoop for you, Pete. You ready for this one?
For me or for everyone else here?
For everyone else, this is a scoop that I wanted to put on everybody's radar here. So we've talked about the Miami is recruiting Trent Seaborn in 2027, extremely hard. Trent Seaborn, stud player out of Alabama, prolific passer since he was 8th grade at the high levels. Miami is really working hard in that recruitment. So that nothing has changed with that. Miami working very hard to potentially land Trent Seaborn, who visited multiple times, including most recently the USF game. Scoop is, in addition, Miami is working hard on Elijah Haven, number 1 quarterback in the class of 2027, 6'5", 215 out of Baton Rouge. You hear Baton Rouge, you think LSU, but really the team that had been surging here with the crystal balls and everything else were the Florida Gators. But as we know, the Florida Gators are terrible. So we've been looking for recruiting impact from the Gators being terrible. And again, you just saw me duck out here. What I am told, as Miami continues to work hard to potentially close Trent Seaborn, they are also working equally hard for Elijah Haven, 6'5", 215. Pete, find the highlights if you can. I know he plays basketball as well. 6'5", 215 from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the number 1 quarterback in the country for the class of 2027. We reported yesterday that Miami was working on the number 1 running back that decommitted from Penn State after the loss of James Franklin. So you're looking for coaching upheaval and the impact on the Canes. Number 1 quarterback in the country, Florida lean. That one's back in the air. And then number 1 running back in the country, Penn State commit. That one's back in the air. So that is why I stepped out, and I want to relay that news to you guys. Clutch saying, does that mean we don't want Nickel or Coleman? No, of course not. Those guys are in. We got some young quarterbacks in. Obviously, the portal is always going to be a factor, but Miami is recruiting high school quarterbacks. That never stopped. And, one of the things I kind of always said was, I don't mind me to overpay, kind of what Tennessee did with Nico, to just jump the line and get one of these 5-star quarterbacks.
I was going to say, D, this is going to be an interesting spin here from your perspective.
What I'm saying is, I don't know what the price tag is. As you know, I believe in the portal. Look at the top quarterbacks now. Miami's top quarterback, obviously. But top 3 teams, Ohio State, Miami, and Indiana, all portal quarterbacks. I believe it was Ole Miss number 4 because they got a portal quarterback as well. Anyways, so I am all about the portal.
He doesn't have huddle highlights that are like game highlights or even season highlights, and I don't want to get hit on. I'm trying to find something that's not. There's some stuff on YouTube, but I don't know. This might be copywritten, so I'm trying to be careful here.
Yeah, it's all right. This guy's, let's see, the mystery. I've never actually seen him. I just got the call right now. So Elijah Haven, again, the number 1 quarterback in the class of 27, considered a lean to the Florida Gators. With the Gators in complete turmoil, you put him right back on the mix. Let me pull up. Here we go. We got a tweet right here, Pete. Let's see this. There you go. Shedding a tackle. Is a big dude. Bigger than the defensive lineman.
There's videos that's saying, is he the next Vince Young? Which, if that's anywhere near accurate, then
here's another. Oh, here's the same play. Yeah. So he's got, so they say 6 first half touchdowns in this game on October 10th. So that was this weekend. So 6 first half touchdowns. He's doing pretty good. Anyways, Miami in the mix here for Elijah Haven. Rob saying D's going to call an audible. Look, again, I'm all about the portal. Everybody knows that. I would say one thing that I think makes this type of recruiting more palatable, and you see Ohio State and Alabama kind of do both. Look at Ohio State really recruiting number 1 quarterbacks while also still working the portal. I think when you're a top brand, it's kind of easier to go in this category without having to overspend. I don't know what the situation is here. Again, I just heard about this all now. I know we're still pushing hard on Seaborn, but I'm still about the portal, but I'm not going to lie and say this guy doesn't have talent. I'll say this. If you go to high school, and this is whether you get the number 1 player or you get a sleeper, my view is when you go to high school, get multi-sport, super high upside type of guys that if they hit, you're talking about first round pick. Whereas with the portal, I think you have a higher floor. So I lean towards traits and super talents in the portal, which look, just first glance at this guy, basketball player, size, number 1 quarterback in the country, looks what's going on. I don't know. What do you think, Pete? Call me a hypocrite.
Yeah, no, I'm not calling you a hypocrite. Like, I'm on the same boat as you. I've been very strongly in saying that I don't know that the future quarterback for Miami is on this current roster. I think they're going to need to go to the portal again. And I think it would obviously be a huge switch up in strategy here. Now, it's not like they aren't going to recruit high school quarterbacks, right? They've still been bringing them in each class here, but if you're going to go this route, then you're pretty much saying that guy's going to start for you year 1. I mean, I know that's not necessarily 100%, but that's kind of the direction you're going in when you go after one of these guys, unless you disagree, D.
No, I don't disagree. I think that's part of why you bring in a number 1 overall quarterback, because you got to pay him anyways. So if you're going to pay him, you might as well play him, right? It doesn't make as much sense to pay someone all that money and not play them immediately. Shout out to Kellen Wiley. Love to see Junior get some run this week. He's had a good bye week, I'm sure, working. Here goes Soldo. He said, I officiated the West Boca game Friday, spoke to Javion Mallory, running back committee, said his entire family graduated from FSU. Kid all came. Mario's at the game, but Mallory was hurt and didn't play. Yeah, I know he banged up his ankle, but watching some of his highlights, man, Mallory's super underrated player. I'm very impressed with what he's put on tape here as a junior. Sorry, as a senior. But anyways, that's a scoop. Elijah Haven, Trent Seaborn. Could you see one of those two as the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes in the future? Do you know anything about Haven, Pete, why LSU wouldn't be involved? I mean, have you heard anything about him? I'm just looking again.
I haven't at all. I listen. I don't pay attention much to these guys. Miami's not in the market for them normally, so it's not something that's necessarily on my radar. That is an interesting thing there with the fact that LSU. I mean, LSU's in the mix, no?
Yeah, I mean, I was reading about it was all Florida. That's what I always heard with him was Florida. That's why I was kind of like, all right, well, we'll see what happens when that program collapses, which is happening now. You look at it, so he was district MVP and defensive MVP as a 10th grader in basketball. They went to the state semis back-to-back in basketball, 12 points, 0.7 points per game, 9.4 rebounds, 4 assists as a freshman in high school as basketball. So he's a good basketball player. Football side, National Sophomore of the Year. Led Dunham to a 14-1 record. Louisiana's Division III Select State Championship game. 60% passer, 3,000 yards, 37 touchdowns, 7 INTs. Also ran for almost 1,019 touchdowns. So this guy's he's put on some numbers there, man. Let me pull up his huddle, his 247 page. Interesting. He's not the number 1 player. They got him as the number 2 player, 247. Number 25 player on the composite, but he's the number 1 quarterback. So I don't know if it's considered a down year for quarterbacks or they're just kind of getting through that. But number 1 quarterback on LSU, number 1 quarterback on 247, number 1 quarterback on composite. Yeah, this is also true. I forgot about this. Yeah, there's this kid. There's Nussmeier's younger brother in 2027, who's another high recruit, Nussmeier's brother. And then they have another quarterback that's committed. So I remember, hearing about this. That LSU has basically a lot of decisions to make when you talk about the next class, 2027, a quarterback, because really you take one, maybe multiple, but there's 3+ guys that can get it done. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Very interesting, though. Very interesting. And this is where I think you'll continue to see Miami. I know this is still a class away, but this is where that national success gets you into these conversations. Yeah,
Booker's Reverse with the fresh shoes and the avatar says, I live in Baton Rouge. Haven is interested in Ole Miss as well. He's not a lock to LSU. Appreciate the insight there. And we're talking about breaking news on CanesInSight here on a Monday morning. So like and subscribe to the show. You want to get breaking news like that. Again, can't get more breaking than that. Get in the call on the show, man. But that's what it is. That is fresh off the wire, and that's everything that I am hearing. If you want to be fresh off the injured list, back on the field, back on the court, uhealthsports.com, the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Again, if you're an athlete playing on the weekends, just an active guy like myself, probably know how hard it is to sit on the injured list with pain or injury, maybe even try to hack your own rehab. But if compromising your movement performance is not an option, you want to be 100%, not 85%. Call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute, whether it's elite competition with University of Miami Athletics or just moving around every day, getting off the couch. The University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today at uhealthsports.com. All right, Pete, any big thoughts this weekend as we got through that? We're going to bring our guy 50 in from Category 6 Sports, one of our favorites. Bring him in here in a second. But any thoughts from the weekend?
I mean, I started talking about it when you were gone, but the Indiana win, not a surprise to me. And that's me saying that as someone who believes in Oregon as well. I just think Indiana's a really, really good team. Signetti is an unbelievable coach. And I mean, I think Florida held up pretty well on the road there against A&M, as you probably would have expected, but they don't have it.
No, it's not. I mean, not as well as I would have thought. I mean, I bet on them to cover, and that didn't happen. But Texas A&M's just a good team, man. Their offensive line is excellent. I'm really impressed with that group.
They look like Miami a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're the second best. Ultimately, Florida, just third down, they're just awful. 1-10 on third down. They couldn't get the running game going. 74 rushing yards. Texas A&M ran for 183 with multiple backs. Look good. Their quarterback too. So I think that's ultimately the difference. Is UF with this offense, third down, they're 128th in the country, 113th in rushing yards per game, despite having your boy Ba. So I think that's really been the story of the UF offense. Yeah, Lagway struggled a ton, but that running game is not doing him any favors. I think those 3rd and long situations with not a very good offensive scheme, I think the offensive line is a little overrated when they play actual good pass rushers. All these things are working against Lagway. I'm still a Lagway believer, but luckily he's losing games in the orange and green. So nothing better than that.
I will say too, when we did our little power rankings a few weeks ago, I had Bama in there as number 5, and I feel very, very good about that. I know you don't believe in them right now, D, necessarily, but they win next week against Tennessee at home. That's 4 straight against ranked teams, and I think like the 4 teams that we're talking about, Georgia, Vandy, Missouri, and then now Tennessee, like I think they're all good teams. I don't think that's like SEC inflation necessarily. I think they're all really, really good teams.
I believe in Alabama's quarterback. I think they have the best quarterback in the SEC. Ty Simpson, he reminds me a lot of Brock Purdy. That was my comp for him. Just like a guy that's very smart and can move, accurate thrower. He elevates that team quite a bit, and he has great receivers, maybe the best receiving core in the country along with Ohio State. Then, of course, DeBoer and Grubbs. Those guys know how to scheme up the passing game. So passing-wise, I believe in Alabama, and quarterback-wise, I believe in Alabama. I think that was the difference between them and Missouri. It was just Ty Simpson's just a lot better passer than Purbulla. But if you ask me Texas A&M or Alabama, I like Texas A&M's offensive line better. I like their running game better, and I like just their defensive mentality better. Alabama might have better defensive talent, but I think ultimately they're an offensive team coming from DeBoer, whereas Texas A&M is a developing defense. They're getting better every week. I think Elko has a bigger imprint on that. So if you ask me Texas A&M, Alabama, I would take Texas A&M. But I think Alabama's quarterback is the best in the conference. And as we talk about what's going on in the country, in the state, with Miami as we get ready for Louisville, had to bring on one of our favorites, the host of Category 6, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Got the background. You got the colors popping on this Monday morning. Your favorite. Our favorite, 50. What's going on?
What's good? What's good, y'all, boy? Pete, D.
Good morning. Good morning.
Man, I'm feeling good, feeling great.
Yeah, man. I know you've been
100 jersey, no rings.
Hey, they got 100 of them, no rings.
I was showing one of my buddies that yesterday, and he could not stop laughing. 50. He was dying.
Yeah. Hey, man, they be trying to troll. I just had to let them know what they got going on over there. You know what I'm saying? I be in the trenches with it, fighting for this Miami stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you is, you are always in the trenches, especially Big Three related, which, the Big Three, I think kind of an outdated term at this moment. They're really battling with USF for number 2. So just taking this week to really.
Boy, Kelly Wiley was good.
Taking the week to really, just lean on the rivals a little bit. When you got we got the weight on them, we can just kind of just lean on and make them feel it, especially during a bye week. We got nothing else to do. And then they lose again, both this weekend. Just, how you doing in terms of the wars with the rivals that go on in those spaces?
Hey, man, they're running off on me. They don't want to talk to me no more. All this, like, hey, it's put on next season. They mad about that, and it ain't stopping. I'm just loving it. Like, that was one of the best hate watch ever. I'm like, damn, all of them, like, your ops losing. Then the people that want to talk crazy, they lost. Oregon, like, 100 jersey, no rings. Like, that was real. Like, they got none. They just got 100 jerseys. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And Eugene's, dumb, man. Like I say, I love Oregon. My dad grew up in Oregon. That's why I don't have that Cuban accent. My dad went from Cuba to Oregon. So I got love for Oregon, the state. Eugene is like the worst part of Oregon. It's not even like, it's not even nice if you like nature. It's just kind of like a dump. But like you said, they got the uniforms. That's all they got, and the money.
Uniforms.
But they don't have the trenches that they had 5 years ago when they beat Ohio State in the shoe. Whenever it was. That's 3 years ago. That's fallen off quite a bit. They got good trenches, I guess, when they're playing average teams. But Indiana was getting in there with some of those blitzes.
And they offense, they chain fake. They chain fake over there. That offense, man. I'm looking at it, man. They only scored 13 points. Mendoza donated a touchdown to them. I'm just saying.
They have a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way. I'm looking at it now. They really don't have. They have Rutgers, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota. Then you finish USC and Washington. So I still think they get out of there and make it to the playoffs. But
they're gonna make the playoffs then. I hope we play them.
Yeah.
I would love to see them.
Played by the rules, saying 50's bringing it from category 6. Excellent Canes takes. Yeah, man, you guys are killing it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll get the plugs in now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You know what I'm saying? The 50 show category 6 sport plus I'm messing up. Category 6 playbook. There we go. I don't know why I'm messing that up, but category 6 playbook, you know what I'm saying? Get merch, all 22, all that. Just come rock out with us. You feel me? Yeah. Yeah, that's the membership, the plan. Hey, depends on the plan. You get the all 22 because people be asking me, like, oh, how do I get the all 22? What plan you got? So yeah, you gotta get the right one. Like I said.
You guys got a Penn State page too, man. A lot. That must be some crazy stuff going on that page right now, man.
Oh man, they still got a powerful win.
Let's talk about that one. I want to get your thoughts on that because I did a show yesterday, just late night, just kind of wanted to get something out there. I know I talked to Pete offline. I haven't talked to you about it, so I don't even know where you're at on this one. Mm-hmm. But my opinion is James Franklin, 8 first rounders, 10 second rounders since 2018. Winning double digits, top 5 finishes all the time with a program that, at least in my experience, it's not like they just wake up and go top 5. You know, they had a pedophilia scandal not that long ago, and they weren't winning for 20 years before that. So I don't know where they think they are. But to me, I see this happen, and I just say, okay, I don't want James Franklin in Florida and Florida State because they need players, and he can find some players. I don't know. Where do you stand on James Franklin? Where do you think he should land? And what do you think about the whole move to get rid of him?
I feel the move to get rid of him, I mean, the way this year going, I understand it completely. But man, like he did a lot. I still feel like he got something left, but I don't know where it went wrong for him. I think offensively, it just, I don't know, because ain't he a receiver guy and his receivers not being that just kind of threw me off. So it just one of those like, man, has the game passed him by? Like, because that's how I feel with Dabo, like the game passed him by. He just got blessed last year. But with Franklin, I'm trying to think of a job that's good for him because I still think he got something left in the tank, but it's going to really be like on some, I think he had his Rick stage, like how we got Rick, where he basically fell off. That's where he at right now. That's where Franklin at. Like he in his Rick stage where he really don't got it no more, but he can still coach something, but it ain't going to last long.
The more I thought about this firing, guys, to me, it was the first NFL style firing in NIL era, because you look at the body of work, as you've talked about, the body of work was obviously not fireable.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. I was, maybe like Arkansas. Maybe Arkansas. Arkansas, I think might be a good move for him. But this is an NFL style firing because this was the boosters saying we put this much money into NIL. This is unacceptable to me, because like in any other sort of situation, I feel like with the success he's had, you almost say, you know what, we wash our hands of this year, we move on. If it's anything like this, then we make the firing next year. But yeah, it also seems like 50 from what you're saying too. I think there's validity in that, and like if you're around the program, you have a better sense of like what the vibes are, like what his work rate is on the recruiting trail, because people around Miami, like obviously when Rick was here, we were all happy about the steps taken in the right direction with the program, but like people behind closed doors were like, there's something that's a little bit off, which obviously we ended up seeing that he was sick at the end there. But I'm not saying that's the case with Franklin, but maybe he's lost a little bit of steam, like you're saying, and maybe the people inside the building are like, hey, even though the body of work is not fireable for right now, we got to cut ties right now because there is no way it's going to get any better.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And I can't wait to raid that class over there.
He's a great evaluator. I mean, again, I'm a Franklin fan. I'm just looking at Florida and Florida State, and I'm saying he's had more top 10 wins since he's been there. He's been there since 2014, so it's been a while. He's had more top 10 plus win seasons, top 5 finishes than Florida and Florida State combined during that period. So I just don't want him to land there. I'm looking at their players drafted.
I'd rather that than who I think.
Who do you think,
Lane? Because I don't want Kurt Signetti to go nowhere over there. I need him to. I need Kurt Cinetti to go to Penn State, Michigan, something. I need him to go somewhere because I don't want him at Florida or Florida State. No.
Yeah, I don't know
So
about that.
I would rather Franklin go Florida State, Florida, something like that. But
yeah, I was thinking
could
Lane
deal with
Kiffin, but they're saying the rumor is that Lane Kiffin, the AD at Florida, is not really looking at Lane Kiffin. You know, there's a lot of rumored off the field stuff with him, not just the tweets. I mean, beyond that. So I don't know if that's something that UF just can't get past. I agree, Signetti would be a problem anywhere he goes. Definitely don't want him in state either.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I want the guys they got now, but they keep losing. So I don't know if that's even going to be possible. They can't get it done.
We got hope with Billy though. We got hope. Now we just need one of them fluke winning streaks now.
See, I think that they're at the point right now with Billy where they are. I think they're making their hire behind closed doors right now. Quite frankly, the way that we did it with Mario a few years back.
Yeah,
like I think that's where they're at right now. I think they're securing their coach right now, and then they're gonna fire him. I just that's personally what I think's happening, but I don't know if you guys. Agree.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think they're gonna have their coaches just because I don't think they're gonna get better. And UF with that schedule and FSU just stinks. The buyout with Norvell, I don't know if this is a this year thing. It's just what's the path forward? You know, so the only time Norvell's ever won at FSU, he won every big portal battle, meaning Fisk, Jared Verse, Keon Coleman, right? Those were like guys everybody wanted. Those were not like sleepers that he just found.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're those guys, you're going to UM probably next off season, right?
Yep.
Because who wants to replace Ruben Bain? He just finished top 5 in the draft. Okay,
Yep.
Who wants to replace Carson Beck? He just rehabilitated his whole stock. Who wants to replace Francis Malinois? He just went top 10. So I just think it's hard. Like I don't see FSU selling anything in the portal because why would you go play for a lame duck in the portal anyways, right? If you have the choices like Fisk and Reverse, like Norvell's not now what he was then. He's not going to be there that long. So it's hard to sell those guys. So I just don't see what the fix is for Norvell in terms of turning it around because it's not going to be recruiting. And I don't know how much more you can get out than what they're getting out now. They just don't have the players.
Yeah. He's 7-21 without Jordan Travis. Man.
It's funny because Jordan Travis has this podcast and he's been defending Norvell on Twitter pretty heavily. And he said something the other day like, man, I'm always going to defend the coach who gave me a chance, who helped me get to the next level, sort of thing. And fans were responding like, man, you elevated this guy's career, not the other way around.
Yeah. It's true too. It's like Dalvin Cook with Jimbo and Winston them. Like, yeah.
It is funny to see. Sorry to cut you off, 50, but it is funny to see the fans now. It seems like a lot of them, the way the Miami fans were calling for Butch, years ago. They want Jimbo, which I was thinking about it. Like, honestly, I don't know that it would be the worst hire given like what their available options are. And he would probably give them somewhat of a pay cut. But obviously he's got to reinvent himself as well. He can't do what he was doing at A&M, but I think he would be a pretty good hire, honestly.
Yeah, I would love for them to hire him though, just to get a little more get back on them too.
Like, I'm not saying he's getting them back to where they were. Yeah, but you also look at his time there, and his success was predicated on Jameis and Dalvin Cook, two generational. And I think we can use that term for both of them. They were generational talents at this level, and we'll see what happens if he doesn't have those guys. But I think there's worse options.
Now, I hope they bring back Jimbo. 60 years old. Texas A&M, he flopped. I mean, we beat him down here, and they had the most money ever spent on
he was getting talent at A&M. Obviously, they were spending a lot of money, but I think he listen, D, you can't say he wouldn't be able to recruit. I still think he could recruit.
Oh, no, he can still recruit. I ain't taking nothing from him. I got to reinvent himself. I just want some get back, Pete. That's all it is. Want a little more get back on him. And I know we could beat him. Like, now, I'm not worried about nobody other than Kurt Cinetti. I'll be like, I ain't gonna lie, Kurt Cinetti, it's gonna be like, damn, we gotta see this dude. But other than that, Oh, we putting belt the ass. Like, we getting this thing rolling. The worst thing they did, like, think about this. We done been through so many coaches, searching so many coaches. Randy Shannon, year 4, ass. Rick, year 4, ass. Manny Diaz, year 4, ass. Al Golden, year 4, ass. Mario, year 4. We looking like natty bound. That's the proof in the pudding right there. We are good. We are out the projects, fellas.
It's sustainable too, too. It's like,
Yep.
that's the thing, is like last year you could have been like, all right, Cam Ward, you got a 101 dude, and he just kind of elevating the whole situation, which he did.
Right.
I can't wait till he comes back to campus because he's going to get a huge ovation. But I think what we're seeing now with Miami, how they're playing, even what Cam's happening in the NFL, and I think Cam's going to be great in the NFL. He just has a terrible
Hey,
team.
50, you think Cam misses Mario?
Oh, yes. He said, you heard what he said? I'm going to keep it a buck. We asked type time. Like, man, he ain't even sugarcoated.
It's the Mario effect right there, man.
Yeah. He
No,
missed that O-line.
He missed the O-line for sure. And the running game. I mean, it was a team effort last year. Cam was the best part of the team. That's why he was the first overall pick. But it was a team effort on offense. And I think you're seeing that now with how it's continued. Now, look, I want Cam to tear it up in the NFL, be a Hall of Famer. I think he shows everything that he showed in Miami. Just he needs better help around him. But I think if you're seeing it from the outside, you're seeing this is not just a go out of business sale. FSU with Norvell, that was a go out of business sale. They got all the big wins in the portal. They had one quarterback that was just kind of a transformational guy for them. They won, didn't win everything, but they won the ACC. And then we saw what happened after the whole thing collapsed. This does not feel like that, because the same thing that made Cam Ward successful or elevated him even higher, the same thing that made Carson Beck get back to hit where he was playing when he was the number 1 overall pick projected. That stuff is going to be year after year when you supply a Jackson Cantwell, a Joel Irvin. You keep that kind of thing moving. Javion Mallory, man, Pete, I'm telling you, 50. I don't know if you've seen anything from Javion Mallory this year. He's hurt right now, not that bad, but some of the earlier stuff, man, that guy can run. He fits in like a glove with what we're doing. There's going to be more guys added to that. So it just feels like if we're built on running the ball, stopping the run, and pushing guys around with bigger players and just recruiting, I think this could be something that you stick to the script every single year and you're going to have success.
Right. And look at the portal, like with the quarterback, all that. I know you just dropped the bomb with Elijah Haven, which I went and trolled some Florida fans immediately. But that was just a whole nother story. But yeah, like with what the recipe that we got with the portal, this defense, like what's crazy is, and I think we blessed in this Neil era, is that we gonna get Heatherman for another year. I thought he was gonna leave after this year, but I think we're gonna get him for another year.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And like with that being said, that just gonna keep it going, because I ain't gonna lie, the way he coaching, we only gonna get him for 2 years. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Pete, our guy Joe Warren played basketball for the Canes. He's throwing us an alley-oop right here with this one. So I'll let you slam the first part. I'll let you slam the first part. I'll get the second part.
So Joel Warren says he's got his Lomellos ordered. Of course, he's talking about Lomellos Meat Market, fresh Wagyu beef delivered to your door. If you are, here we go. I'm just putting something.
Now they know where you live. They're coming.
This is not the zip code. I'm just putting. I have that as a fake one there. But I mean, listen, I'm pretty distracted looking at the marbling on this Wagyu meat right here. You see it. If you're not local here in Miami, Lomellos.com, nationwide shipping, promo code CIS10 for 10% off your order. You get the Australian Wagyu, Japanese, American, and then you also get the prime cuts. If you don't want to splurge on the Wagyu, you can get that prime meat as well. Lomellos.com, Lomellos Meat Market here in Miami. And I saw Jason Taylor. That's what he was grilling up yesterday or a couple days ago on his buy day. So, that's where the best get from.
And as Joel says, you got the Lomellos ordered and the BUZZN on ice. That's BUZZN drink. BUZZN.com. Use code FIRST50 for first 50% off. All the hang, no hangover, 7.5 milligrams of THC. You got stores all over Big Daddy's Liquors here in South Florida. You can also order them straight to your house. In Duval, too. We got to get you a case there, 50, right there going up to Duval with the BUZZN.
Got to try that out. Definitely got to try that out.
All the hang, no hangover. BUZZN, drink, BUZZN.com.
Yeah.
Lorenzo, man, appreciate your service and your support of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got here. Kyle wants to know, when's the last time Louisville lost by more than 14? Listen, this is a game that's been a dangerous game for Miami for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since Brown's been there, it's been a problem as a quarterback or as a coach. His brother killed us. But 50, as we get into game week, switch into Canes mode. Louisville, what are you seeing?
What I'm saying is a team that actually pretty decent defensively. Offense actually took a step back. Like Miller Moss ain't really all that, but you know how Brum is in big game. He gonna scheme something up. They gonna get the ball out fast to try to neutralize our D line, but it ain't gonna be enough. I'm sorry, it's like a different year. When, like before, like probably last year's team, I'd be like, damn, I'm kind of worried about Louisville. This year, these boys just locked in. They just locked in. It like Kane Jones said, boot the ass week. Yeah. Yeah, because we damn sure keeping the boots at the crib. We damn sure keeping that.
Yeah, I think offensively, Miller Moss, the big difference I see, between him and Shuck, and he can run the offense. He's accurate. It's not like he can't do anything. But when I see Shuck last year and just think back to that game, if you go back and watch, and me and P were all over Shuck. We're like, this guy, if he played for, Alabama or wherever, this guy would have been a star in college because he's big, he can move, he had an arm. Obviously, ended up getting drafted second round. But when you watch that game against Miami, Bank dominated that game. He was coming back from injury. That was probably his best game last season. And in general, we just dominated up front against Louisville's offensive line. The problem was Shuck, he would escape. He would throw to the running back. They get 5 yards. He would throw it out of bounds. They liquefied another day. He was much more mobile than I think people gave him credit for in his size. Whereas with Moss, I think he really does not have a chance to extend plays that same way. So it's going to come down from the Miller Moss standpoint. Quick game, get rid of it fast. You got Chris Bell, one of the biggest, fastest receivers in the country. You got Colin Lacey, another guy with a lot of speed. Isaac Brown, the running back. So if I'm Louisville, I'm getting rid of that thing quick because he cannot hold on to it like Shuck did last year.
Right.
Don't forget their dynamic tight end.
Oh, Skinner.
Nah, I'm messing around. He's their third leading receiver right now. And I'm glad to see him doing well because he was a guy who has a ton of talent, needed to get more consistent with his hands at Miami, put some weight on, but
he still looks skinny to me.
Some guys, man, they don't put it on. That's just what it is. But he had a 33-yarder this year. I don't know what game that was in, but he could be a little threat.
I like what Jake Campbell said. Lots of misdirection and all that. That's true, but we play Mr. Tricky up in Tallahassee or Malahassee. And yeah, we're gonna be well prepared for this. That's why I'm like, we got a legit DC. I can't lie. Corey Heatherman, I feel like we low-key got a head coach at defensive coordinator, if we being honest.
Yep.
I agree with this. Kyle says Miami needs some venom to cover 14.5. I saw it at 13.5 yesterday, but yeah, that's a tough spread, man. This is not
14.5. That's tough. I saw like 10 plus, but to keep it real with you, I can see them covering that though. Like no Homer stuff either. Like I could really, because I feel like Bain and Mesidor, we got 2 Ruben Bains, not 8 like Malahassee them, but we got 2 Ruben Bains and like Jacoby Thomas. Like all these guys are locked in. Like this man can't run. That's like a recipe for us to eat. And their offensive line ain't good.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is just you can't block us. You got to move on to step 2. It's kind of like with the ACC. To me, I'm just looking at every team, and I think the scheme. It's the same situation both sides for every team, which is I don't see any team that can stop our run straight up in the ACC. Meaning we're playing base defense. We're not, just selling out against the run. Can we stop the run to any degree? I don't think so. I think Fletcher will eat those guys alive. We'll see if Lau can get going. Then on the other side, I don't think any team in the ACC can block the defensive end straight up. So they got to either beat it with quick game like Miller Moss. Maybe when you get to the CJ Baileys, the Kevin Jennings, there's things to use their mobility to kind of take advantage, or at least not just stand in the pocket. Because you saw with FSU, I mean, they had no chance of blocking these dudes. Castellanos did everything on his own as far as just not even getting sacked. So, like, I think every week here, as we get into this ACC schedule, it's what are they going to do about the fact they can't block our ends? And what are they going to do about the fact that they can't stop our running game? And then you kind of pull the analysis off from that baseline. That's what it seems like to me in the ACC.
Yeah. And Mally has arrived. So God bless you with that one.
Yeah, we'll see Josh Moore too, maybe, because it's not just, you can't just have one, right? We gotta have more. I think Keelan Marion wants to show he can get downfield and make plays, which he's capable of doing. CJ Daniels, to me, one of the top receivers in college football. Pete, it's interesting to me. Tell me what you think about this. I'm watching LSU. CJ Daniels was hurt for them last year. Still started, played. Good locker room guy, but wasn't a dynamic player for them last year with his injury. Watching LSU in that offense, I'm not sure that CJ Daniels wouldn't be the best wide receiver in their offense this year.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I was doing the same thing.
They're struggling on offense, man. LSU, SEC, remember that? What was the meme about they're supposed to be SEC?
Yeah, they supposed to be SEC.
Western Kentucky,
Western. I'm looking at these teams. I mean, not saying they're not good. They can't beat you, but man, like, do you watch any SEC team right now and say, man, that's scary? I mean, not they can't beat you, but like,
no, I don't get that feeling at all. But I honestly do feel like there are some really good teams. Like, I think Missouri is a really good team. Like, I don't think Missouri is an inflated SEC team, for example. Watching them,
last year they were, but not this year.
Yeah, but I just think like they're good. I think Tennessee is a good team, as well. Yeah. Like that's. I think the SEC is obviously not what it used to be, but I also am looking at teams there that I would normally maybe say, oh, they're getting an SEC boost, but I think they're really good teams because they're getting a lot of these guys transferring over from some of these other programs that normally they would be the depth pieces for. And I think that's where I'm like, these are some good teams here. So I don't think there's anyone that I look at and be like, Miami can't play with them. But at the same time, like, that would be a good game if Miami played some of these teams.
Yeah, that's a
Missouri.
You don't think Missouri be a good game, 50? You think that's a blowout?
Yeah, we spanking that. But like I say Ole Miss will give us something. Ole Miss.
Like LSU, I'm not a believer in. And it's weird to say, but like I think Vandy's a good team. Like I watch Vandy and I think that's a good team.
They like Georgia Tech of the SEC.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I think that with Pete with the SEC, the floor is higher in terms of, like you said, there's no real bad teams. Like, you're not looking at Vandy saying this team sucks. Missouri, I agree, is a real team. I thought they should have beat Alabama, but ultimately that was a quarterback difference where Ty Simpson is high level and Pribula is just not when it comes to passing the football. I just think that was the big difference in that ball game. But the floor is higher where you got a lot more real teams, just less kind of like dominant teams. But like Missouri, for example, they got number 8, Damon Wilson at defensive end. They got him from Georgia. He's better than any pass rusher on Georgia right now. I would take him over any pass rusher on Georgia. He transferred there. The running back who they got from ULM, Hardy, I think he's better than any running back, whether it's on Georgia or Alabama, or LSU, the three powers of the SEC. So,
but like if UVA played Missouri right now, I think Missouri is running through that.
Oh, man, destroying it.
I think Vanderbilt is running through UVA, for example. That's because I was just looking at the ACC again, and listen, there is some of the guy, there are overrated SEC teams. That's always going to be the case, right? They bunch some of these teams up, as someone says, but like I'm not a believer in Virginia, for example.
Well, like Pete, the thing with like teams in the ACC, and this is why I hate this conference so much, is that they really are trash till they play us. That's what I always hate. Like we really beat every team, ACC team, Super Bowl. But I feel like with this team, how locked in they in, I don't care how much you see us as a Super Bowl. We coming to kick your ass now. And I see it with the mentality. That USF game showed me everything. Cause we're like, okay, they pop Florida. We ain't gonna sleep on you. We stepped on the road. And I feel like everybody else just gonna get the belt. Like I feel Louisville, we gonna handle them because usually weird Friday night game, but this team is different. And we gonna show that Friday night.
Big spread on the game. Yeah, just in terms of like kind of going back to your point, Pete, about the SEC and ACC, Clemson last year played South Carolina, and South Carolina took them out, and Clemson was actually in good form at that time. That was right before they played the playoffs and won the ACC championship. So to see that kind of game where an average SEC team goes against what that time had been the champ of the ACC, yeah, I would still say that class of team in the SEC is much higher level. I want to talk about the quarterback for South Carolina because I've not looked at him as a portal candidate, and I've not heard anything. This is just all tampering speculation.
Well, I can tell you he was definitely being shopped around last year.
Oh, I thought they were trying to get him, and he said no.
I don't know what stories out there, but he was being shopped around. I have a chance. I have a good feeling that he'll be back on the portal market this year because I don't know that his stock is doing too well right now. D.
It's not, and his team sucks. I mean, Nick Harbor, I never saw him as a receiver. He's too stiff.
I never thought about this.
Let's also 50. Let's hear about it because to me, in my opinion, if you ask me who is the best quarterback talent right now in college, just pure talent. Forget the eligibility or whether they're number one overall pick right now. I would say to me the best talent is Sellers. For me, size, breaking tackles, the athleticism. He's got the best arm. He's smart. He's got good instincts. I don't think his situation is that good. I like Marcel Reed. I think Marcel Reed's a really good college quarterback at Texas A&M. But you tell me, and I think you would, if you were just ranking seasons, you'd rank Marcel Reed higher for Texas A&M. But man, if you put Sellers on Texas A&M with that offensive line, I think the guy would be winning a Heisman. So, for me, if I'm picking anybody to be that guy, and we like to tamper on this show, we've talked about CJ Bailey. We've talked about the kid from Cal.
That's number one for me.
I got to say, if you told me Sellers was available and that was a real thing, that would be my first pick because of the talent, the character, everything else. What do you think about Sellers?
Oh, I would love that. I just think about this, our O-line and his running game, and he'll just make our running game even that much better with his legs. And you telling me Dawson his OC? Because man, if Dawson stay, whew, yeah, that's a natty right there. It's a natty. Catch you later on the 50 show, category 6 for real. Hey, appreciate you play by the rules, man. But yeah, I love the Cal quarterback more, but I ain't against Sellers. Like I love Sellers. Like I see what we could do, and man, we'll probably have that boy looking like Cam Newton out here.
Nashville saying Sellers going pro. Their quarterback class is weak. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys need experience, man. Ty Simpson, Dante Moore. You saw Dante Moore, he was the number one pick, and now he's down again. I don't think either one of those is the case. I think a lot of these guys, whether it's Moore, whether it's the Lagway, obviously, Arch Manning, Ty Simpson, these guys need snaps, man. They got to play football. They got to start games, right? You can't, like, Jaden Daniels wasn't Jaden Daniels when he was a sophomore or even a junior. Jaden Daniels was Jaden Daniels his last year. That's when you kind of seen what he could do. Bo Nick, same thing. So I like these guys playing more snaps. So I don't even know who is ready to go pro from a snap perspective besides Carson Beck, Nussmeier, Mendoza probably because he is his third year starting. So those are kind of the names I see. I don't even know how this quarterback class is gonna work out now with Aller and Klubnik, Johnny Lagoon saying those guys fell off. Who's your favorite quarterback in the country, 50? As far as like this is the guy you'd want on your pro team next year.
Oh, pro team next year. I mean, it's kind of weak, but only dude that's worth the damn is Mendoza to me. That's about it, Mendoza, because Dante Moore, exposed. Yeah, I mean, I like material when he healthy, but I don't know why he rushed himself back. But I love material game. Beck, yes, I'll take Beck. One of the
I'm gonna throw this out there for Martin.
Boy,
I do not disagree. Nico Iamaleava has looked refreshed, man. He's got some juice in the arm. He's got some juice in the legs.
Hey, if Manny go to Penn State, what's up with Mensa?
Yeah, that's another one. No, Manny goes to Penn State. That'd be crazy.
I would love it.
Hey, Manny can stay at Duke. What's up with Mensa? He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to leave for us to get involved there. 50. Manny Diaz. We're scared about Manny Diaz now.
Nah, I'm just saying. I was just saying like he leave.
I know.
Now it's like he ain't got no excuse to stay.
That's Pete, I see your face twiddling your thumbs, so I know you dropped a good one there. I'm already seeing the segment. Let's talk. This is a whole segment right here. This is a clickbait segment right there. That Nico to the U. So you just dropped the bomb, the clickbait master.
I mean, listen, this is a guy with playoff experience. He's been to more playoffs than Miami's been to. As a quarterback.
Right.
So
now.
he's got playoff experience. He was being held back last year in an offense that is historically not good for quarterback. No, I'm messing around. That's a great quarterback. Look, is there worse options out there? Yeah, he's a big talent, and I think that sometimes these quarterbacks take a long time to develop. They aren't ready-made. He was one of those guys we were talking about. Miami now going after the number one quarterback in 2027. And I think as some of the commenters are getting at here, he's even no matter how this season finishes out, Nico's going to need a facelift after what happened this last year. What better place? Cam Ward came into Miami as a late round to undrafted free agent. Didn't have great reports coming out of Washington State. Carson Beck, we understand the process that he's undergoing right now. Nico did not have the same success, obviously, as a Carson Beck did at Georgia in terms of two full seasons of it, and a lot more of a resume in terms of the production. But you could do worse, man. There's a lot of talent to work with there.
All right, P, I'm going to walk with you for a second here with Nico. I like that he got dirt on him. He's not the golden boy NIL kid who walked right into it, because I was very critical of him last year on Tennessee. I was critical of his decision to leave. But you like resilience. You like to see a little dirt on him and see how he responds. So if I'm playing devil's advocate, Pete, last two games, Penn State, 166 yards throwing, 2 touchdowns, ran for 128 yards, 3 touchdowns. So 5 total against Penn State, no interceptions. Then you look at Michigan State, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, passing the ball. Didn't run as much in that game. So he's playing very well. The running, I think, has unlocked some of his game. I'm not with you on it. I just don't know if he's a good enough passer instinctively, but his arm is definitely legit. And it's going to be a fun offseason, man. I wish we had 5 portal seasons. This portal season is more fun than the games. I got to be honest, man. All this tampering and speculation, I'm loving it. Well, 50 here. You tell me this. Tamper. You're saying Cal's your number one guy.
Yes. And by the way, I'm not saying. Before you go to 50, I don't want people to think that Nico's my number one choice, because I know how the comments get. They'll see the video that we cut up here, and they'll think that I'm saying he's the best option. I'm just saying, when we were throwing Fernando Mendoza around last year, people thought that we were suggesting someone who was going to be the downfall of our program at the quarterback position.
I felt like that was a great option.
Again, we'll see how things play out, but I think there could be worse options out there.
They be trying to jump down y'all throats because y'all boys Cuban. That's all that be about.
I appreciate that's what happened, man. Every time Restrepo, they thought we were pulling the narrative. Then now Jason Lopez is the new one, Mendoza last year. Although I will say,
I don't know, man. Kevin Concepcion looks darn good over there.
Hey, he does. You know what, though? We do push the narrative. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to pretend like we're about honesty here on CanesInSight, and we're about honesty on Category 6. Well, I do push the narrative heavy. We don't got him that often. When we have him, we got to push him. It's not like we get Cuban quarterbacks every single year. We got him. We got to push him. But yeah, man, I had to push that one. But
I knew Mendoza was good. People just tried to, but he lost to Florida State. I ain't had no comeback for that, but I knew he was good.
Your last ACC win, by the way, 50.
Yeah.
385 days, 386 days now with no ACC win for the Florida State Seminoles.
Come on, man. No ACC wins. That's crazy.
Cuban quarterbacks, nice way to talk about Cuban food. The best Cuban restaurant on planet Earth, East Las Canarias, in the Dataland Mall Dining Pavilion. 7 different types of croquetas, all the classic sandwiches. You got the Cuban sandwich, medianoche, all the different options. You got pig, you got snapper, you got ham, all the cubaritos, just grab and go. So modern takes on the classics. Plus, they got the classics, the pastries, empanadas. 50. We got to get you over there, man. I don't know how the Cuban food is up in Duval, but we got to get you. We got to get you to East Las next time when you're down here for the championship, January 19th. Broadcasting Category 6 live down on location for the championship. We'll get some East Las. How about that one?
Oh yeah, need one of them empanadas.
There it is, baby. Booker saying, talk about the Maryland quarterback, Washington. Say he's not going anywhere. He's a local guy, talented dude though, man. Basketball player. He used to throw out some serious dunks. That's a great area up there in the DMV for basketball. And he's one of those guys that played basketball. Now he's playing football. Started as a true freshman. A lot of good indicators with that kid. I like guys that play sports, multiple sports. Also guys that start as true freshmen, man. I think that's an underrated deal because sometimes you see guys, they start as true freshmen and they kind of struggle at first and you throw it away. But Jaden Daniels, true freshman. Bo Nix, true freshman. Cam Ward, true freshman starter. Shador Sanders, true freshman starter.
Cal quarterback.
Yep. This year for sure. Dylan Gabriel, Fernando Mendoza, true freshman starter. CJ Bailey, I'll throw him in there. Guys who start as true freshmen have a lot of success because it shows they can learn fast and they can do stuff. Even if right away it doesn't look right. Another guy started a little bit as a true freshman, Washington quarterback, Damon Williams, man. He's a good player. Have you been able to see him, Pete?
Yeah, I saw him a bit last year. I saw him against Ohio State. I like him, man. I like the Malik Washington kid though from Maryland. Talk about some. I know he's tied to Loxley, but that's another one I might throw around there. D.
Yeah, that's
Washington, right? Malik Washington, that's his name.
Malik Washington, basketball player. Yeah, he's from there. That's the thing, but you never know with these coaching searches who goes where. There's always going to be that kind of movement. With Williams, he was committed to Arizona. I mean, he's a Fish guy, so he followed Fish to Washington from Arizona originally. He's not from Seattle or anything like that. So I heard Jed Fish wants to go to UCLA. That's really his dream job. They obviously got a quarterback there. So does that kind of quarterback carousel, if Fish goes to UCLA, does that quarterback carousel lead you right to University of Miami?
Dude, the Washington quarterback is 5'1".
Guys, On 3 just put out their new Heisman poll here.
Pull it up
20 minutes ago.
And I'll take Josh Hoover too.
So they have Ty Simpson number 1, Fernando Mendoza number 2, Ruben Bain number 3, Carson Beck number 4.
Here, my takeaway is here, Pete 50. So here it is. Homegrown Ty Simpson, Mendoza transfer, Carson Beck transfer, Trinidad Chambliss transfer, Dante Moore transfer, Reed homegrown, Sane transfer as a freshman, but he was a transfer. He signed with Alabama. Mayaba transfer, Haynes King transfer. So we hear people ask about portal. The only homegrown guys on this list: Marcel Reed, Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson cooked for a long time too. He wasn't like a day one player there. He kind of developed and stayed with the program. He could have left. So that to me tells me, number one, transfer quarterback still the name of the game. Number two, the only non-quarterback on the list, forget defensive player, the only non-quarterback with the poll ranking right there, Ruben Bain out of Miami, Florida.
Yeah. That's the number one pick, man.
Let's see what Canes Jones says. As the year goes on, they may keep both our players in New York, but Bain most likely finishes fourth. Yeah, I'll take that. Two guys to New York.
I think it's good, though, that you're seeing him on a lot of these lists in terms of the narrative. He's there, right? like we've said, he's going to need like 15 to 18 to 20 type sacks this year. I think closer to 20 to win the thing. So he's got to start stacking up some like 3-4 sack types games, even though we understand that's not where his impact is only felt. But it's cool to see him there. And I think if Miami keeps winning and you keep seeing him with some of the clips that are on social media, like of him just absolutely dominating guys, even though he's not getting the sacks, like he'll be in that mix and hopefully gets to New York.
Nah, he's a beast, man. And like I said, it looked like he might be on the Titans too.
Great question for Birdstone. How you guys feel about Austin Simmons? I mean, we really are a tampering podcast, man. That's how we tamper as much as we talk Canes. But Austin Simmons, but you have to though when you look at how important these transfer quarterbacks end up being for the success of the team. I mean, that's part of how we build this deal. So yeah, we're going to talk about this more than most, just because, man, this is college football in 2025. This is Miami football. Carson Beck. No one would have said Carson Beck's our quarterback this time last year, and now the guy is. You just saw the Heisman odds, right? So. Burstone asking how you feel about Austin Simmons, the lefty. He reminds me a lot of Tua, man. Maybe I compare every lefty to Tua. I know I said the Cal quarterback's kind of like a juiced up Tua, but Simmons to me reminds me of Tua. And if you put him behind a good offensive line, give him some good receivers, I think he can deliver the mail and do his things. Have you the chance to see Austin Simmons out of Pahokee?
Oh man, I mean I like Austin Simmons. I think he gonna stay just off the strength of Lane Kiffin and all that, but. I wouldn't be mad at it. Like I like what he bring, like you said, with the left hand. I don't see Tua, but I see a talented young player who I can see behind our O-line, and you know what I'm saying, and Dawson can do, you know what I'm saying, numbers. Like I'm really looking at this quarterback, and I'm just like when Gary Fernandez kept bringing up Josh Hoover. I love Josh Hoover from from TCU. I love that. Like, it's options out there, but Austin Simmons, I like the talent. I see the arm talent, and I can see that working out for us. But like I said, we gonna be them guys. So whoever the top guy gonna come here regardless.
Yeah, I think I agree. I agree with what you said. That love the talent, but yeah. I want someone who's a little bit more certified at this stage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. If we was like in Florida State position, yeah, I could see, Austin Simmons being our number one option because we're ass. But we're not. So we get the pick of the litter. We them guys. We got the projects. No more noodles and syrup sandwiches. We here now.
Burstone's got the official source right there talking about. He's not just saying it. He's hearing there might be some buzz. So keep an eye on that one. South Florida guy, Austin Simmons.
Burstone.
Johnny Lagoon says, do you wish we went after Eric Rivers, receiver from FIU? He looks great. Is George like, yeah, I do. And I know we're happy with what we've seen a receiver D, but I think he's better than not only mine, but I think than a lot of other schools thought he was. He's a legit NFL prospect right now, top 3 round sort of guy.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be impressive with his size. No, he's a good player. Malachi Toney to me is a better player. So part of this is I don't know the thinking was with Rivers. I know he had some size and health kind of deals, but I know with Trevor Pena, who went to Penn State, they told me straight up, and I reported right here on CanesInSight podcast, they told me we don't want to pay this guy money and then put Malachi back. We'd rather just let Malachi thrive. Obviously, that was a bold thing to say at the time. We're talking about this was like in April. Malachi just finished the spring game. He hadn't done anything yet, but that was what the message was to me when they were looking at Pena was we don't want to pay Pena and then sit Malley. We'd rather just play Malley. That obviously worked out. So I don't know if Rivers, because he is a smaller guy, you would have had to only play him in the slot. Could you play him outside? He's fast. So maybe you could have had both of them. I don't know. But I know that was the thinking, at least in terms of the Pena situation, rolling with Malley. And there was some injury stuff with Rivers too and other issues. So good player. Can't get them all. The one that really gets me is Singleton. Singleton's the one that when I watch Auburn and see how bad Jackson Arnold is and just how messed up that situation is, he's the one I'm like, man, this guy should have been here and he would have been on his way to be first round pick, I think.
Yeah. Well, they make terrible decisions, man. They did it in high school. They do it in college. It just don't change. You went over there to die.
We'll be the business decision now going forward a little bit more because the more people see what we can do, the trust factor goes up. You know, if you're a receiver, even if we don't have the quarterback yet, it's like, all right, well, I trust if I go kind of what CJ Daniels did. CJ Daniels went to Miami before we had the QB.
Yeah.
Obviously, that turned out pretty good for him. So
Yeah,
I think
he
more
learned
guys
this lesson. You remember what he did last year with Cam Ward? He didn't think we were gonna get nobody. Went to LSU. Was kicking himself.
Worked out, man. All part of the journey. Jay Campbell saying word on the street in Auburn is that Freeze would rather golf than game plan and recruit. Yeah, that's one thing we're seeing, man. Recruiting really is the name of the game. Not just the high school, but the portal. You know, I mean, you look at Texas Tech, what they've done. I mean, I just pull up here. So, Pete, we'll go through these because you know all these because you did them with me. We're, group chat sports, which we're going to do a little. We'll bring on Clay Fink here in a little bit, talk some general college football. But I'm pulling up the AP poll right now, Pete, and look at this, right? So you are on the portal show with me, Group Chat Sports. We cover all that kind of movement. Like and subscribe if you haven't on Group Chat Sports. We're going to get some more videos here in a minute talking about college football in general. But look at the AP top 25, and you say, all right, transfer portal. Ohio State hasn't had to use the portal as much. They still use it. Max Clare, their tight end, one of the better players, period, in the portal. They get him. Caleb Downs, one of the best players in the country, was a portal guy. Last year, they had Will Howard from the portal. This year, Julian Sane, technically from the portal, even though he transferred before he played. So Ohio State's using the portal while also recruiting at the top levels. Miami, we know what they did in the portal, right? You just look at their roster. Brockermeyer, Keelan Marion, CJ Daniels, Carson Beck, Marty Brown, Akeem Messidor, David Blay, who else? Torrey, the whole defensive backfield. We know what Miami's done in the portal. Indiana, Mendoza. They brought in some defensive backs from the portal. They were able to beef up their offensive line with Coogan, Ronald Hemby from Maryland running the ball. So
Roman Hemby. Yeah.
Roman Hemby. So Indiana's used the portal, and that doesn't even include all the guys from James Madison that transferred over with Signetti. So that's been a heavy portal program. Texas A&M, Concepcion, Craver. That's really the heart of their passing game is those explosive players on the perimeter. So you're seeing Ole Miss. They got a guy from FCS with Ferris State and Chambliss. So really, of course, they use the portal more than anybody. So you look at those top 5 teams, and then Texas Tech right there, number 7. I mean, this is portal heavy right here at the top, and I think that tells you a lot.
Come on, man. And like you said with the portal, one thing I want to go back to what you were saying about with Texas A&M. Elko, man, that's a good coach, man. Because I was just looking at what you were just saying with Concepcion and Craver, and I was thinking about his Duke teams, and they ain't really have no big receiver there either. He just had a quarterback and Riley Leonard that can run, and they'll get it to their playmakers. That's about it. He down there got the same formula over there, and look how it's going. So yeah, this portal, Indiana got the portal quarterback. Us, we always Ohio State got a portal quarterback. Bama need to hit the portal because man, they let their best running back go to Michigan. That's crazy to me. Like you said, Missouri, Georgia Tech. Yeah, portal, like I said, portal and recruiting, they go hand in hand. Like portal is the new free agency, and recruiting is like drafting. So yeah.
No, that's LSU, also a big portal team. And, you have seen teams falling out. So I think that to me is very, very big. Appreciate you, Lord Baconton, always. I got to ask you this one, Fizzy, because you're in the trenches, like you said. Drek says, I'm seeing the ops clicked up on social media. Miami must be on top. It's like when Pablo Escobar Colombia killed so many people that all the families and the brothers and cousins of the people that he killed formed a group against him. And that was his biggest op. It's like that's what's going on with the college football, man. All these teams that got smoked now, they're ganging up.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they gang up, but it ain't stopping that. Like, cause I know people like, I can't wait for Miami first, hell, and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, you just making it worse for yourself because I'm not gonna stop. Like, they can click up all they want to. They can have this whole coalition and all this. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. You ain't stopping this. You know what I'm saying?
I love this. This is a great question from Trevor. So with Napier gone, you get Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown. No pushback on those two. We wanted them bad last year. Thoughts on if UM would take Cormani McClain?
No.
I'm saying no. All respect to him for building up his career. I'm happy that he's not just washed out, right? Because he made
Yeah.
he's really improved and worked hard. So you don't want to, as much as, trust me, I'm just like 50. I like to shit on our rivals any chance that we get. However, with McLean, you got to salute him for working hard. You don't want to hate on resilience, but I don't know, man. We got the guys we got coming back: Frederic, Lucas, Damari Brown, Ethan O'Connor. Plus, you got Jabari Antoine in the pipeline, Jalen Waters. I know his dad's always in the spaces. I mean, there's some real dudes at corner that we got to account for.
Right. Like, salute to the kid. You know what I'm saying? Happy day. Oh, hey, Martin, that's a great one. Coalition of losers. Yeah, I like that. That's what they is. We got a coalition of losers. Like, they having a whole meeting about us, and it ain't stopping. But yeah, I'm good on the Cormoney McLean. The coach of carousel is going to juice up the portal this year. Yeah, it damn sure is. And like I said, that's why I'm looking at, like, Penn State. Who you want off their roster? You know what I'm saying? Who you want off their class? I saw the 27 running back, Keeman Spell. I'm like, man, this is how you build. This is how your team get better. That this is what happens. You always get talented players from coaches getting fired, leaving, something. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, no, let's see here. Oh, there you go. Lord Bacon is saying, truly believe they use the most hated program in America. Who's Cormani going to start over? Nobody yet. No, agree with Cormani. I don't know. You know, I'll be honest with you. I don't know for them. If the U wins a championship and stays good, if we get to like where Georgia is right now, Ohio State, we will be the most hated again. I think you got to win a little bit before we get hated. So that's my personal opinion. Obviously, back in the day, we were the most hated. I think we got to win to be hated on that level. And I mean, win, really win, you know, where people get annoyed by it. Because I think if we win it, people are like, all right, UM's back, you know, that's cool. Then the next season we're good, and then the hate starts, you know. That's kind of how it kind of rolls. You don't hate the team winning it the first time. You hate when they stay. So I think if Miami can win and stay, then you're going to see Miami back to being the most hated quarterback or hated team in America. But on the quarterbacks, this is 50. I want to give this with you because this is your guy.
Yeah.
The lefty, JKS, Saga Politelli from Cal, Hawaiian native. Anthony wants to know what you think about him. I know he's your number one target. So what do you like about him?
Oh, I love that. Like you say, freshman already starting. His arm is like, I've seen some throws. I'm just like, damn. Like you say, souped up to it. I see that. I can see that because he left-handed and all that. But I'm just like, he just put it in the money. He making NFL throws, a ton of them. And I'm just looking at that offense, Cal offense. That's how it's so funny because like when I look at Mendoza, I was so high on Mendoza. I'm like, man, I just see him with our weapons and our O-line. He gonna go crazy. That's how I feel with this kid. But I feel like this kid is better than Mendoza when Mendoza was a freshman. Like if you talking about the same time, like yeah, you see 9 touchdowns, 7 picks, but it's just like, man, you give him Malley and Josh Moore and whoever, JoJo and whoever step up a chance, it don't matter. It just gonna be there. And look, he said ops dead ass folding their flag. Like, yeah, they tying flags and all this clicking up to go against us. Like Florida and Florida State, they should be ashamed of themselves. But hey, they gonna stay in hell. That's just what it is. No water, no spit, nothing. They just gonna be in hell. And I love it there. I love it for them.
Then all it says it's not hate, it's fear.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. But you got to keep it going. We got to prove that we're what we think we are here. We've got a question from Roots of Jesse Banks saying, "Go Canes!" Getting hate from Ohio State fans that we've played nobody. Are you serious? I would say, look, to me, 50 the best wins of the year, the 2 best wins of the year were the 2 losses to Notre Dame that Notre Dame took, which was Texas A&M on the road beating them, and then us beating them at home in that opening game. Because Notre Dame, to me, with CJ Carr playing the way he is, he might be the best quarterback in the country right now. Like he's in that conversation. I don't know if people are talking about him in that category, but man, he's playing at, I'm not say that high, but he's playing at a pretty high level, man, CJ Carr. And as far as like young quarterbacks, I say he's probably the best young quarterback in the country right now. And he played well in those games. Miami was able to take it to him and win the game. But
is he a true freshman?
Redshirt. He's back next year. We got to play him next year at Notre Dame.
Tough game.
Lord Baconton, the noble one, saying wish list: Cam Coleman at receiver, quarterback from Cincinnati, Brendan Sorsby, or Washington from Maryland, plus Dallas Wilson. We're shopping out here. We'll get ready. We'll tune in to Louisville here after today, because I know we've been talking to other teams, but I just want to recap the weekend, man, because it's like one of these things. College football is a lot more fun when the Canes are winning 50. But even more than that, like with the way the portal is, like you're not just watching other teams. You know, when we were watching Georgia last year, we were watching Miami's quarterback. You know, we're watching guys that are going to impact the Miami Hurricanes going forward. So these bye weeks where you're watching other teams, to me, is a whole different flavor now that the game has changed and Miami's on top and working the portal.
Yes, most definitely. Because you seeing, okay, I'm not opposed to the Cincinnati quarterback. He has been balling a little bit. So I'm just seeing things, and I'm just like, man, we really like in a position of power where we them guys that you gonna hate us because you gonna hate us in the in the recruiting trail, but you also gonna hate us in this portal. Like we gonna get whatever we want. What my boy Pedro Roman say, D50, baby Jesus before baby Jesus. Y'all got this squatted today. Good Canes news. Hey man, we here. Y'all heard the Elijah Haven news, man. Hey.
We're stacking the roster here anytime we bring on 50. Appreciate you, man. Tell everybody who's tuning in now over 1,500 live where they can find you.
Yeah, Category 6 Sports. Yeah, y'all watch the 50 show, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. Category 6 Playbook. You know what I'm saying, where you get dad-driven sports picks, merch. You know what I'm saying, all 22. Just come rock out with us. We doing the damn thing. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Appreciate you, man. 50. Check them out. See you in the spaces. I might jump in on my burner here today. Enjoy the Rivals losing. Always good with 50, man. So, Pete, we're gonna transition here. I'll let you get working here as we transition for Group Chat Sports, and we'll explain this in a second. Over 1,500 live. So appreciate everybody joining the show. Want to tell you guys, look, there's a win-win for Miami. The Noles lose, the Gators lose, everybody's losing. You could have a win, triple win when it comes to KashKick. That's KashKick, the app you can download the App Store. Over 1.5 million downloads, people using it all over the world. 4.5 plus average rating. Number 4 lifestyle app ahead of Pinterest. All legit. You connect it to your Facebook, your Google, your PayPal. The reason you're connected to your PayPal is because you can get paid for playing games. All the games are aggregated here on KashKick. So whatever type of game you want to play, whether it's puzzles, action, sports, you name it, they got it on KashKick. Download the app, get all the games consolidated. Then, while you're playing, you're making money passively just by playing the game from advertisers. That goes into your PayPal while you're playing, some money on the side. Plus, with the Play It Forward campaign, those advertisers are matching those donations to the American Cancer Society. So you are donating to a cause that's affected everybody while just playing games and making money. So the win KashKick. Also, and I had to do this. I promise you I'm not doing this to troll our guy Clay Fink before we bring him on. I promise I'm not doing that. But they are selling the state champion shirt at the Miami Hurricane team store, MiamiHTS.com. Promo code INSIGHT20 gets you 20% off your first item. MiamiHTS.com. You can order from anywhere in the country, or if you're local, right across the street from the University of Miami, same thing. Just tell them CanesInSight. They'll give you 20% off your first item, including the back-to-back state champions t-shirt right there. This is awesome. Ton of great stuff available at the Miami Hurricane team store. Baseball, basketball season heating up. Want to get the basketball gear? They got that officially signed memorabilia. MiamiHTS.com. All right, Pete, I've been talking. Bring us in here.
We got Clay Fink with us now here on Group Chat Sports as we've transitioned from CanesInSight to Group Chat Sports here. Go over to the channel, Group Chat Sports, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Clay, welcome in. Good to see you. How was your weekend here, man? I know Florida State took a loss, but some good games, man. Heck of a college football weekend here.
Yeah, it was a really, really good weekend for college football. Not for Florida State fans. Depending on your outlook, maybe Maybe
I was gonna say
you were
that some of
waiting
the people
for
on this
moment.
show right now, had some fun with it, but
Yeah. And honestly, I'm sure some FSU fans might have had some fun. There's a lot of folks who kind of were ready for this experiment to be over, and I think we might have seen the nail in the coffin this weekend. And if it wasn't, tell you what, like going to Stanford 10:30 p.m. local our time, 7:30 p.m. Stanford time, they lose that. That's absolutely the nail in the coffin. So, yeah, man, it's looking rough in Tallahassee, but outside of Tallahassee, just an awesome weekend for college football yet again.
It's funny. We've spent so much time talking about the SEC, and we always looked at the SEC because of its dominance, right? The two teams, whether it was Georgia, Alabama, LSU, when they're rolling, maybe the 1 year where Florida's good. It was always the top teams with the SEC being so good. That was what you looked at with the SEC, the highest level of championship team. Now, to me, the SEC is almost like, I'm gonna say, a souped up Big 12. It's not because of it's obviously a lot better quality than the Big 12, better talent. It is still, to me, top to bottom, the best conference. So I don't mean it like that. What I mean is, you look at the SEC, and if I said rank the best teams, we're going to get different lists as far as like who'd win on a neutral field. And even if you're just ranking the quarterbacks, I think we'd all have different lists. So let's go around the horn, and I'll start with you, Fink, because I know you got it written down. Pete, let's see if you can come up with this. Let's say the top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC right now. And here's my criteria. I'm not talking about who has the best stats, who has the best resume. I'm not necessarily talking about who has the most pro potential, although that factors in. If you had to win a game this season and all rosters are equal, you're putting this player on the Knowles, the Canes, whatever team you want to put, a different team. You're pulling the player out of their situation. Who are the top 5 quarterbacks you would take now in the SEC? So Fink, changing the criteria on you a little bit. Yeah. I know, some of these guys that we've been talking about have performed at a high level on the neutral team. You would take them over some of these other guys. So I'll go to you. Give me your 5 SEC quarterbacks that you would take to win a game tomorrow.
So I think if you're using that criteria, there's kind of a clear top 3. And this kind of boosts Lenore's Sellers because he's been a little bit up and down this year. But I mean, I think we all remember that Clemson game last year. He broke like 17 tackles, 180 rushing yards. We all know he's super talented as a passer. When he's on, it doesn't really matter how bad South Carolina's supporting cast is. Their defense isn't the same as it was last year. That's a guy who can beat almost anybody in the country when he's having his A game. I think outside of Lenore's, Ty Simpson has really turned it on this year. He just looks like a really excellent facilitator in that offense. And then I think you kind of have a little bit of a drop off here, but I would go with Trinidad Chambliss, who's been awesome to watch this year for Ole Miss, and Diego Pavia, because he's got so much experience. He brings the rushing threat. He's been able to win in situations that he probably shouldn't be winning. And then I think I'm still going to go with Arch Manning. He had a much more impressive game this week. The talent is obviously still there. Nuss would be first out, and Mateer would be first out. Mateer, I'm scared by what I saw this weekend. I didn't think he was heavily impacted by the hand. I think he was making terrible decisions, which was not something he'd struggled with throughout the year. And I'm not the biggest Nuss guy, but he certainly can win you games. I'd put him right there with that group.
All right, P, I'll go to you last year to give you some time to put it together. But to me, I'm not that much different than you. I would go Sellers number 1, and people say Sellers not having the best year. I just think if you put Sellers on Texas A&M, with that offensive line, what are we talking about, right? Yeah. What would he do there? So I would have Sellers, to me, still number 1. Ty Simpson, I agree. Reminds me of Brock Purdy. I sent that comp to our group chat. The way he operates, the way he moves, he's more athletic than you think. He's very accurate, great decision maker. I don't see people are talking about him being like a first round quarterback this year. I think he's a guy that needs another year of experience. I don't think he's just physically so special that you just go straight to the pros. I think he needs reps and experience, even as an older player. But I would say right now, I'd have him number 2. Great case to be number 1 on that list. Number 3, I'd go with Pavia just because of the experience. Again, the ability to elevate team. You put him on some of these other teams, I think he can get it done running and throwing. Not NFL talent necessarily, but a guy that can get it done. Mateer, more talented than Pavia, but the experience, the decision making against Texas, I agree, was all over the place, even with the bad thumb. He really put the ball in harm's way. And I think as the schedule gets tougher, you're going to see some more of that. And then last, there's a lot of guys you can go. You go with like Arch and Lagway because of their talent. You go with Marcel Reed just because he's in better form. You go with Nussmeier just because of the experience and the pro style. I want to go with Arch. I just don't think he's like there yet for like right now. If I had to win, Lagway, same thing. I think by the end of the year, maybe. But right now, I would have to go with Marcel Reed just because of he has a great offensive line. He has great playmakers around him. He has all that good running game, but he is really running the show at a high level, have occasional decision-making gaffe. But I think overall making good decisions, making timely plays, I would give Marcel Reed that 5. So Pete, how do you got the 5?
Yeah, it's that number 1 spot is still tough for me to decipher between Simpson and Lenora Sellers. I agree with you, D. I just think that he's the guy that you can really just put the ball in his hands and he can make something out of nothing. Obviously, that hasn't necessarily been the case this year, as they have some losses, not all on him, but I agree. You see him in one of these other offenses. You said Texas A&M. Imagine him with a Lane Kiffin, and with what they're doing. Because I love Trinidad Chambliss, and I have him at number 5 here, just because it's a smaller sample size at the SEC level. Still, I think as the season goes on, will teams maybe figure him out a little bit more because there will be more film on him. I think there's a possibility that that's the case. So I have him number 5. I have Sellers number 1, Simpson number 2. Number 3, Nussmeier has really fallen in my eyes this year. I'm still keeping him, in that top 5. I think, you know what? I'll put him number 5. I'll move Chambliss up to number 4. And then I didn't like what I saw from Mateer, but I still really trust the talent there. I'm with you, Clay. I don't know that his decision making was let's not even say subpar. It was awful this weekend. Is some of that adrenaline trying to do a bit too much, the rivalry atmosphere? He was maybe just some of his timing off from the time missed. I'm going to put some of it as well, and I think he gets things back on track here in the coming weeks. But it's a great debate. I think the Trinidad Chambliss one is a very interesting one to me because I'm such a believer in what Lane does offensively in terms of putting his guys in the best position for their skill set. So I don't know that he replicates that success at some of these other spots. And then just like to me, the X factor in all these guys is Taylon Green, because the talent is big there. Yeah. Talent is there's real upside there, and obviously it's been a tough situation for them this year.
Yeah, the good one here too from Nashville, Kane, up in Tennessee, saying Aguilar, 30 plus games, throwing over 200 yards, underrated passer. His stats are there, and they got a great chance this weekend to show people what they can do. They kind of been forgotten about. Lost a very close game to Georgia. They could have easily won. Had many chances to win. Gunnar Stockton, for as mediocre as I think he is, he does make plays when he needs to make them. So he wasn't on either of our list, but he did pull that one out. But yeah, Tennessee at Alabama. Alabama's had a really tough stretch here. That could be the Aguilar, I'll say breakout game, but that could be his game that takes him to another level. By the way, shout out to Green Trees, giving the polo right here, rocking it. Appreciate you. Alden saying Rivers Nuss has an injury. I've always been a Nuss believer, and I should have put him in my top 5, considering I liked him before he even played a snap. I agree. His stock's down. He's not as big as I thought. Oh. I thought he was like a bigger, sturdier guy. He's light and he gets hurt a lot.
He's like 6 foot, maybe 6'1", like 199, 200 pounds. Like, he's not big. I was under the same impression, though. I've always thought of him as, I don't know, bigger dude.
Well, interesting conference there in the SEC. Pete, want to talk about another guy here where this is the cool thing about college football. I'm watching USC Michigan. Great performance by USC. They ran all over Michigan. I don't know how much of that cross-country journey from the Midwest to the West Coast affected Michigan. That's been, as we learn more about this new Big Ten, that's a big factor. Whether you're setting lines, making predictions, that's been a huge factor. But I was watching the game. You have our boy, everybody loves Wayman Jordan, out. So what's going to happen to USC's offense? Number 30 comes in, and this guy is a bit of an upright runner, but fast, big. I see him just exploding past players, and I'm like, all right, this guy must have been a 5-star that they got, or a 4-star that they got that just hasn't played. King Miller, right? Ends up getting 150-plus yards against Michigan's defense. So I pull up his recruiting profile because I hadn't heard of him. Walk-on, 82 overall ranking, 148th player, Calabasas, California, so from a prominent area. Portland State commit, Portland State Vikings. Goes from there to
I've recruited Portland State before. I've been to Portland State. So let me tell you something. There's not much going on over there.
Not much going on at Portland State. But then look at this, man. This guy goes to USC, bides his time, class of 2023, and then boom, this game with some injuries explodes. 158 yards, touchdown. And I thought he looked good. I just liked the way he played, man. He was really, really, like, it wasn't just, hey, this guy's having good stats. Like, he looked fast. He looked big. At no point did you say this is some walk-on overachieving. Look at PFF stats, 5.44 yards after contact. That's 5th in Power 4, 2nd in the Big Ten. 98 yards after contact. That's 4th in the country, 1st in the Big Ten. 3 rows of 15-plus yards. This is for the last week. 5th in Power 4. 1st in the Big Ten, 8 first downs and 158 yards. That's all compared to last week's performances, one of the top performances in the country. Clay, I don't know if you got eyes on King Miller and what you see from this guy. Is he someone you got to keep an eye on going forward, or just like a cool story?
I don't know if he'll be an NFL draft guy. He's kind of one-dimensional. I don't know if he has like the side-to-side shiftiness, but he does have that explosiveness. He can really break away for a long one at any time, it seems like. It's just a cool story, man. I think maybe he transfers somewhere, gets a bigger role. USC loses both of their top 2 running backs entering this game. They end up, I believe, having a game time decision, making their 3rd running back listed as out. And then when their 4th running back went down early in the game, they bring in King Miller, and ultimately they reached out to the league office and asked, like, hey, I know we ruled this other guy out, but like, we right now have King Miller, and that's the only running back we have healthy. Can we play this guy in the second half? So they let him. But yeah, ultimately it was the King Miller show. The other guy, I think he had like 70 yards off that injury, but it's a cool story, man. I think he's probably going to keep getting some run throughout this year, even as the starters come back. But
it's an interesting one too, because you would have thought that this is an NIL era kind of effect here. You have a school like USC who's down to their 4th running back, and their 4th running back is a walk-on. So, or 5th, I guess you could say here because of the situation. But I don't know, man. It seems like some of these schools used to have 7, 8 running backs on scholarship.
Well, Pete, we saw Quentin Joyner for USC, really explosive back going to Texas Tech. He got hurt before the year. He would have probably been their top back. So, to your point, you would have had a Quentin Joyner kind of ready to rock and roll if you had these injuries. That didn't happen. So that was interesting to me. USC in general, Pete, I want to get your thoughts. I've been critical of USC, just not liking kind of the way they're built. Maybe getting away with some of the things that you saw Lincoln Riley do in Oklahoma and have success with. But you look at this game, Michigan with their really 2 really good running backs, running quarterback as well. And then an offensive line that prides itself on running when they know that they're going to run, right? Having that mentality. But you look at this game, and I wonder how much the cross-country trip had to do with this. We saw UCLA and Penn State last week. 109 yards rushing for Michigan, 3.5 yards per rush. 224 yards rushing for USC, 6.2 yards per rush. So just, Pete, overall, USC with Maeva playing the way he is, Mekhi Lemon, I mean, how real is this team as they head to Notre Dame next week?
Yeah, they surprised me, coming off of that loss a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it was a tough loss on the road against Illinois, but to me, it's the style that they won. And you mentioned it, beating a Michigan program that we understand what their identity is. And right now, Bryce Underwood, we expect him to be a very dynamic He is a dynamic quarterback, but production wise with the downfield passing, expect that to continue to improve here. But they beat Michigan at their own game, essentially, there with the way that they ran the ball. And you see, a lot of the runs that we were talking about here with King Miller, well blocked, right? And he kind of took what was in front of him, but it wasn't like Michigan was making it all that difficult for them up front, right? So I think if you're a USC fan, you have to be very pleased with the progress in terms of the physicality up front, because you understand and you know what Lincoln Riley was going to bring to the table from the spread offense perspective. But as we've seen now across college football, D, and I think we saw somewhat with the way that Indiana beat Oregon as well, that power element, you still need it. You still need it. And that travels on these road games. I know USC was at home, but just moving forward here, I think if that's going to be a consistent factor for them, which got to get some of these guys back healthy here, but you got at Notre Dame now, you got at Nebraska these next 2 weeks. So you need that to travel.
Yeah, I want to add with the injuries, I just realized their starting left tackle and center was out for USC as well. So their running game had no business doing anything on that day, much less dominating. And then quick shout out, Bishop Fitzgerald, their safety, had 2 picks in this game. He's got 5 this year, which is the most in the country. I haven't watched him, but that's certainly a stat line.
NC State transfer. It shows you really how these portal defections hurt the ACC and enrich other schools, because NC State lost a defensive back to, I want to say, LSU. Yeah. Right. Cooley. He's out there from NC State. They lost a couple other guys. I believe one of them might be at South Carolina now, but certainly Fitzgerald, a tough one to lose, going to USC and emerging as one of the better ball hawking safeties in America. So Big Ten gets stronger, ACC gets weaker in the portal. I think that was a theme just throughout the portal, that unless you're the Miami Hurricanes, who really went hard in the portal and had a lot of success, more teams in the ACC to me got worse in the portal than got better. FSU, I guess you'd say, got better, but they had a low, they coming off a tough year. It's not like they weren't recruiting the guys at the portal that they did a couple of years ago with Fisk and Verse and that caliber of guys. So I just think the ACC as a whole, obviously Dabo, we know that how that thing goes, not getting as much as they're giving to programs like USC. Lord Baconton, appreciate your support. He says, if you told me at the beginning of the year USC trenches were better than Michigan, I would say you are a liar.
Yeah. That was the crazy thing to me as well.
And I get a caution. They had to travel a lot. Remember, UCLA was playing horrible. They're playing a lot better now, obviously, but UCLA was playing horrible. And then Penn State crosses to go over there. UCLA, I don't know how many yards they ran for last week, but I think they ran for a ton against a Penn State front that you thought would ordinarily hold them down. Nico went crazy with his legs. So I don't know if something that's like jet lag. They're just like not as physically sharp coming off this trip. We've seen USC is much better home team than road teams, has moved into the Big Ten. So just something to keep an eye on. Over 1,700 on now. Remember, like and subscribe to Group Chat Sports. We got our own channel. If you're a CanesInSight fan, just hanging around, we got our own channel talking college football in general. Our guy Clay Fink, the prodigy, the Fink himself on here. Pete, we're talking transactions, portal, everything. All these portal moves that we're talking about now, we cover. We did a video on Fitzgerald when he transferred from USC to NC State. So we're covering all this. We'll be through all the portal season recruiting. If you want to keep your finger on the pulse of college football outside of your home team, Group Chat Sports is your spot. So like and subscribe. Over 2,000 subscribers. So appreciate everybody's support. Over 1,700 on now. There's the link in the chat. Group Chat Sports right there on YouTube. And Lord Baconton says Big Ten overrated. Someone's got to be properly rated, because we said SEC's down, Big Ten's down. Someone's got to be up. I don't know. I think Big Ten's got some pretty good teams. Fink, what do you think about the Big Ten?
I think so too. I mean, I'm sure Oregon fans aren't particularly happy right now, and it certainly hurts the Big Ten that Penn State has fallen off like they have. But USC seems like a legit team. I think Illinois is going to be fine. Ultimately, they might not be what they were hoping for in the preseason. I think ultimately a lot of people just were expecting better from a lot of these teams, and a lot of the underwhelming teams have come from the Big Ten this year. But you still have that top end talent. They're still going to be heavily represented in the playoff, I think.
And I think like in Indiana's, even though there was still some good hype about them, they're better than people thought they were preseason.
Definitely.
Yeah, although we were always high on them. I mean, I'm not saying we knew they'd be this good beating Oregon, but just like I think people slept on how many guys they brought back and just how good they were in the portal. I mean, they went and got guys. That's the theme you're seeing. The teams that worked at the portal and got high-end players in the portal, we're going to talk about a couple of them here in a second.
Yeah.
Those were the teams that had a lot of success. And I think let's just talk about it right now. Texas Tech, right? I know you want to talk about this pass rush duo. These were premium guys. First of all, both of them played in the ACC last year. So both of them were Power 4 players. Romello Height at Georgia Tech, David Bailey at Stanford. David Bailey, I think, was already known as one of the top rushers in the country coming in. Romello Height's someone who keeps kind of raising his stock the more time he spends in college football. If he had another year of eligibility, he might be making $5 million. Who knows? Because his stock keeps rising. But Texas Tech right now, probably along with Miami, maybe the best pair of defensive ends in America. Is that fair to say?
They're neck and neck. I think you can pretty much pick either, flip a coin. It's not going to matter. Miami's probably faced definitely stiffer offensive line competition than Texas Tech has.
2 first rounders.
And they wrecked them. I'm a big fan of the Utah offensive tackles. I'm looking at Texas Tech, and we'll focus on Romello Height and David Bailey in a sec here. But I'm looking at their defensive grades. Their top, it looks like 7 highest graded defenders are their starting front 7. So you have David Bailey and Romello Height, Jacob Rodriguez at linebackers having a really good year. Skylar Gill Howard is a guy you paid for in the portal. Lee Hunter is a guy you paid for in the portal. AJ Holmes Jr. is their other defensive tackle who you paid for in the portal from Houston. And then John Curry is their other linebacker. He's actually homegrown. But that's 5 or 6 guys that are some of your best defensive players that were all in this big portal haul. We got to talk about Romello Height and David Bailey because they had another dominant week this week. They were the 2 highest graded defenders in all of college football this week. David Bailey had a 94.8 grade. Romello Height had a 95.1 grade. David Bailey had 11 pressures, which led all of college football. Romello Height had 8, which is tied for second this week. David Bailey has 44 pressures in 6 games. He's on pace for 88. I just looked. I think the record was 82 in 2016 by a guy in the group of 5. So, and that's without the bowl game, but he's on pace to break the record for most single season pressures in the last 12 or so years that PFF has been doing this, not facing the stiffest competition in the Big 12, like I said. But I mean, Texas Tech is getting much more than they ever could have asked for when Stanford fired their coach. So
the speed from both of those guys off the edge is, it's funny because like we're just talking about Miami a little bit here. I think Miami with their guys, if you're those tackles up against them, they worry you with their power. These guys, they're shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a lineman, especially on an island on the outside against them, they can put so many different counters and different things together just based off that first step.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think if you're in the portal and you're a team like Texas Tech spent a lot of money on a lot of things. So they're pretty unique in that. But if you're talking about where was the money best spent of all the money they spent and it wasn't cheap, they had to pretty much overpay for these guys. There it is, our guy James Blanchard, who Notre Dame tried to steal.
We did multiple videos on that saga.
We were all over Texas Tech, and I think it's not easy. I mean, it wasn't hard to find them. They were the most active team. But I think this particular move, the Bailey move was late. Texas,
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought he was going to go to Texas, right, or a school like that, and he could have easily done so. But you look at Texas Tech. So I'm pulling up this last year, where Texas Tech was still a bowl team, still a pretty decent team in the Big 12. 110th in sack percentage. So sack percentage, the percentage of dropbacks that result in sacks, probably my favorite stat. I know there's pressure stats and some more detailed stuff on PFF, but to me, getting the quarterback down to the ground, I like to see who is sacking based on the amount of dropbacks the other team has. And right there, Texas Tech last year, 110th in the country. Fast forward to this year, Still early, but Texas Tech, 14th in the country, almost doubled when it comes to the rate of pressure. So, and you see some of the teams, the rate of sacks. You see some of the teams up top. Oklahoma with J. Mason Thomas, Indiana. We saw them against Oregon, the way they blitz and get after it. Tennessee's done a great job recruiting that position. Texas A&M replacing some guys with Cassius and Hayes. Ohio State, we know what they can do. USC kind of surprising there. Missouri, another portal team that added Damon Wilson from Georgia. So that, if you're looking at one kind of story of Texas Tech season turning around or program turning around and going to the next level, I think the pass rush difference, both from a talent standpoint and production standpoint, you got to put that right there at the top.
Yeah, no. So I figured I'd check their grade. Their pass rush grade this year is like a 92 point something. That was first. Last year, they were 105th in pass rush grade. So same story, just a different stat. Real quick, I want to shout out on their offense, another guy they paid for, Terrence Carter, the tight end. He was super productive last year. He's still kind of getting into the flow of things, but man, like when they target him, that is an athlete at tight end. He's not the biggest guy. I don't know if he can make it inside the first 3 rounds of the draft, but he might be one of the most athletic tight ends in the country.
We did a video on him too.
He's a mismatch guy.
Yeah.
Louisiana transfer, right? Undersized, quick guy. I'm not saying he's this guy, but just kind of size-wise, looks like Harold Fannin just when you see him running around. But yeah, I think this type of player that is maybe not 6'5", 6'6", but has the short area quickness, has some lower body strength, and of course has the natural receiving skills, they can really help you out, especially in the Big 12 where you don't have back 7 defenders that are the most reliable tacklers. So guys like this can make plays and cause damage, and certainly help in that passing game, which has been a revolving door quarterback due to injury, which makes this run even stronger. They got 2 guys that can get it done.
Hey, they're both pretty good, man. Really can't go wrong with either of them, it seems like right now.
And they got weapons. They can throw the ball. You mentioned Carter. They're running the ball even without Joyner from USC, who, USC is doing what they're doing without Joyner. Probably would have been their best back. I think if he came back, certainly the most explosive back, he's gone from them. They're still running at Texas Tech with Joyner being hurt before the season, tearing his ACL. They're still getting a lot of production in the running game and passing it to their backs as well. So a lot going right for Texas Tech. Real quick before we get off Texas Tech, what do you need to see to say that this could be a team that is a threat to maybe win the game that Arizona State didn't win last year and actually knock off one of these Power 4 playoff teams? Are we at that point? Are we ready to say that? Or when do we start saying that kind of thing?
I mean, me personally, I think I've seen enough to say they can do that right now.
So too. I don't think this is your typical Big 12 team, I mean, they went so heavy in the portal. They have guys that look like what they're supposed to look like, Arizona State was kind of, you have Tyson, you have Scadaboo, you have Sam Levitt, you have a few other guys on defense, but really it was a team that played above their talent level. Yeah. And obviously this isn't a high school recruiting-based team, but it's a transfer portal recruiting-based team, and they seem to have hit on basically everybody. So I think they can pretty much compete with anybody.
And no Tyson for Arizona State in the playoffs, and they still almost knocked off Texas. Yeah. So maybe these teams aren't as far away as we think when you're talking about the absolute best team, the team that makes it through and wins. Maybe we got to give that team more respect. We'll find out here soon with Texas Tech. It seems like they're on a straight path to the playoff, but as we know, things always happen. But the fact that they've survived these injuries at the quarterback position got to make you feel pretty good about Texas Tech's potential. So switching gears to a topic that we love. This is kind of a classic group chat sports topic. I know, Clay, you're right in the mix of all this stuff, which is talking freshmen. We follow these guys in recruiting, always kind of checking to see which freshmen are popping off. So the topic here is the most important freshmen in the college football playoff race. So limiting a little bit because a lot of freshmen are playing for teams. You look at Florida, for example, with their wide receivers, freshmen making incredible plays for them outside the playoff race. But inside the playoff race, there are some guys really making an impact. And what jumped out to me, Clay, is Oregon. Yeah. A tough loss this week, but I don't think we're throwing the dirt on them as a playoff team. They are relying on a ton of freshmen, including at a position that we thought they were going to solve through the portal with Mekhi Hughes, and that's running back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably been one of the most surprising developments of this entire portal cycle was the Mekhi Hughes saga. You pay 700,000, I think, is the number that's out there for him, and now he's redshirting and he's going to transfer because he got passed up by two, albeit highly ranked, true freshman running backs. They've kind of got a thunder and lightning thing going on out at Oregon. They've got De'Arhill Jr. is 5'11", 205, and then Jordan Davison is 6', 236. They've both been really impressive. De'Arhill Jr. has been one of the best, most efficient backs in the country, 8th highest graded back, second in the country with 9.2 yards per attempt this season, and third averaging 6.6 yards after contact per attempt. I'd be happy if my back is getting 6.6 yards period per attempt,
Right.
but after contact, I mean, that's just completely ridiculous. Jordan Davison being that bigger guy, he's got 7 rushing touchdowns this year, which is top 10 in the country. They've been relying heavily on these guys, and then you add in DeCorian Moore out at receiver. Obviously, they lose Evan Stewart in the preseason. I mean, you could say, what would this offense look like with him? But DeCorian Moore has not made them lose too much of a step. Obviously, he was the number 4 player in last year's class, late flip from LSU. He's had 14 first down or touchdowns on 23 catches this year, so just a really reliable target. And I realized I saw, the clips were going around a little bit earlier in the year. I forget who it was, ran in a touchdown, and DeCorian Moore is like blocking 5 yards into the end zone and then pancakes his guy. And the whole team seemed almost more excited about that than the actual touchdown. He has an 83.4 run blocking grade, which ranks 3rd among all FBS receivers this year. He's a true freshman, man. He's not even the biggest true freshman. So to see that type of buy-in this early in his career, super encouraging. And
Well, Clay, let me ask you, because I know you got
yeah.
the stats in front of you. Maybe you could pull it up, because another guy on the list before, and we're on Oregon, but you brought up the blocking, so I want to bring it up, because another guy who, as a true freshman, undersized receiver, is getting high marks for his blocking, at least internally with the coaching staff and what we've seen just on tape. He seems to always be in the mix, pancaking guys, is Malachi Toney.
Yeah.
Right. As far as just the blocking, and we're getting into the whole grade. He's obviously a big factor as the primary playmaker for the Miami Hurricanes as they make their playoff run, number 2 in the country. He has been blocking too. So I don't know what his ranking is. Certainly just the eye test and what they're saying. What is it?
They're tanking him for a penalty against Bethune-Cookman. It's a 53.4. He's been like 60 plus in every game besides that, though. So it would be totally different. He had a 31 grade against Bethune-Cookman because of a penalty. So,
and I can tell you the internal grade on his blocking is extraordinarily high. Mario said he's the most physical guy on the team. So just going back to Oregon, I just wanted to highlight both Moore and Toney. Two, you would call them undersized, probably Toney more than Moore. But thicker guys that work hard in the weight room, and guys that love football and like to block on top of making plays, making an early impact. So that might be a correlation to look at when you look at freshman receivers, especially undersized guys finding their way on the field. Are they just that physical? But another guy,
5-star recruit or 4-star recruit receiver watching, put some blocking clips on your huddle.
There you go. Just put them at the end, because that's always a red flag. But another guy on Oregon, Clay, before I cut you off, who had a great interception for a touchdown here in the Indiana game, is going to be out of amazing, out of Baltimore, Maryland, Owings Mills, which is a suburb of Baltimore, going all the way to Oregon. Number 1 player in Maryland, top 10 cornerback, but I think he's exceeded that, is Brandon Finney.
Yeah, so he's allowed 3 catches on 15 targets this year, which is pretty good. If you didn't know, that's elite, one might say. 3 catches on 15 targets for 28 yards, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup, no touchdowns allowed. The craziest stat, he has allowed a 11.8 passer rating when targeted this year. That's the lowest mark in the entire country. And he's a true freshman. 11.8. 39.6 is if you spike the ball on every play. We've all seen that stat, but that is just completely ridiculous. Obviously, Oregon had a bit of an easy start to the year, but they've been tested since, and he's maintained those high metrics. So really, really impressive start by those 4 players for Oregon, and they're clearly trusting their guys to get out on the field early.
By the way, Group Chat Sports, like and subscribe almost 1,900 live on the stream right now, talking prospects. So we'll talk about these guys when they're recruits, talk about them when they're in the portal, and of course, talk about them right now and through the draft. We're always trying to get you up to date, not just look on the big things you can see on Sports Center, but maybe some of the things that you're not seeing there as far as players emerging, trends emerging, things of that nature. Some more teams. Georgia, their offensive line's been banged up, but they do have some true freshman talent with Dontrell Glover and big Juan Gaston is one of the biggest offensive linemen in football there on the right side. 0 sacks between both those guys, 5.1 combined pressure rate. So you got to put them in the mix. And then Bo Jackson, Pete, I want to get you on this. Just the Ohio State running game now with Bo Jackson doing his thing. Look at some of the stats here.
He had a receiving touchdown this weekend too.
Ooh. Yeah, great finish, which he really he could have easily not scored on that, but he kind of made the extra play to get in there.
Swing pass, yeah.
What do you see with the Ohio State's running game led by true freshman Bo Jackson?
I think he's taken his opportunity and he's ran with it. No pun intended, but he's 7 yards per carry. You know what the expectation is for the passing game there, and I think he's just given them a different look back there. Good size on him. I mean, listed at 217, but the way he moves, he looks bigger. I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say he looks like 220, 225 range to me. And he's moving, man. You saw on the touchdown reception that he had this weekend, caught the ball in the flat, and the way he just put his foot in the ground and accelerated, like you said, D, very impressive. He's got that youthful energy. I know all these guys are young; they're in college, but it just seems like he has given them such a nice spark on the ground.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is easily their most talented back. I think he was the RB11 in the composite recruiting rankings last year. That's just silly. I think this is a very clearly talented athlete, very clearly ahead of schedule as far as his vision goes. The tackle breaking is very evident. He's had a couple of just totally ridiculous plays where he should absolutely be tackled at the 2-yard line and he gets, or 2 yards downfield, he gets 8, So they just don't really seem to be getting that from anybody else. And Ohio State fans have been begging for him to become their true workhorse running back. And at some point it's undeniable. You have to.
Yeah. Typical kind of recruit here for Ohio State, Cleveland, Ohio, high 4-star player. They typically do pretty good with those guys, but it seems like he's transformed this running game. CJ Donaldson, more of that versatile piece to score on the goal line, catch some passes, block, but they needed a pure runner, which I think Bo Jackson and then no relation to the Bo Jackson, although he'll be the Bo Jackson for the next generation. But I think he's much more closer to like a Travion Henderson, Quentin Judkins level, different style, but that level of pure runner than maybe a CJ Donaldson, who to me is just more of an all-around football player, former tight end.
Do they have a comp for him on there? On 247?
They got him as no comp, but he was on the 2025 Freaks list, verified 205 plus. He may have run track. Let me check, because I know he has some verified speed when they had him on that.
It's interesting though. You look at the explosives with him. I mean, he's got the yards per carry have dropped a bit here, obviously after he had 100-yard games against Grambling in Ohio, and they've gotten into Big Ten play here, Washington, Minnesota, Illinois. But he has double-digit, even in the 3 Big Ten games, has a double-digit run in each of the yard run in each of the games, a 16-yard run against Washington, 10-yard run against Minnesota, 17-yard run against Illinois. And then in the receiving game also, we talked about a touchdown that was a 17-yarder, but also had an 11-yard reception against Minnesota and another 11-yard reception. So the 10-plus yard plays from him, he's ripping them off with ease.
And by the way, look, he is not related to the Bo Jackson. However, pull him up. He's got a perfect game profile. Hit over 500 as a sophomore on the baseball diamond. Hit 542. Got the perfect game profile. I'm looking at it right now. Also a state qualifier in the 200 meters. So the track, the multi-sport, some similarities there, although no one really compares to Bo Jackson when we add it up. over 1,900 on. Remember to like and subscribe to Group Chat Sports as we bring all this stuff to you from across the country, keep you up to date on the world of college football, not just the Canes, Knowles, whoever you're used to seeing from us. You'll be seeing all the teams in the country and every player. These Texas Tech guys you saw, we did videos on them all off season. Fitzgerald, who just got the 2 picks for USC, did a video on him. So can't say we did a video on the walk-on for USC who ran for under 50, but most of these issues were covered on Group Chat Sports. So we like to cover the portal so close to make sure you're up to date. You got the gambling picks. You got a little extra edge by keeping up. So appreciate everybody joining us. Like and subscribe to Group Chat Sports. Switching to the home team for you, Clay, which is Florida State. When something like this happens and the team has a season that is going off the rails, I'm not speaking as a rival. I think that's certainly the sentiment within FSU fan base. And you assume that maybe we'll see how the buyout works out. This could be coming to an end one way or the other. When the momentum just kind of goes to that point, I know because Miami's been in this situation before, and we've also preyed on this situation before. You start looking and say, okay, who can you grab in the portal, right? Who? And on the same token, if you're the one transitioning, Miami Hurricanes, for example, who we're going to keep? Who we're going to keep? I know Miami in 2022, when we had the whole transition from Manny Diaz to Al Golden, Miami was able to keep Jalen Rivers. Miami was able to keep Xavier Restrepo. Miami was able to keep Elijah Arroyo, right? All guys that ended up having huge roles on what was ultimately a really good offense for Miami. Andres Borregales, all these guys, All-America type players or close to it, ended up getting drafted, playing in the NFL. So that's the other part of it is who can you keep during this period where the vultures are circling. So if you're at FSU and assume there's some sort of change or at least enough toxicity that teams are circling, trying to get your guys, and there's an exodus of some sort, who are the guys that FSU absolutely has to keep for whoever the next coach is?
It's mostly young guys. Real quick, I would say if you're Mike Norvell, you better start looking into the NCAA's appeals process for Tommy Castellanos, because that might be getting another year from him is probably one of the only things he can do to sell hope for next season. And that's assuming Tommy doesn't fall off a cliff, because he hasn't been perfect, but he's been more than capable this year. And the offense
he's been competing. He's been competing. Yeah, he has.
It's what you paid for. It's what you paid for. You got what you paid for. I think, he's going to miss some easy passes, but he's going to give you the threat with his legs. You got what you paid for there. And so that's something Mike needs to look into. I think there's one guy you have to start with, and maybe you could argue this next guy, Usman Kroma. If you follow me on Twitter, I'd probably have never talked about a single football player more in my entire life. I think this dude is, I say generational. I know people that's overused, but I genuinely, he doesn't have the long speed, but he's got above average long speed. And I think literally everything else about him is built in a lab. He has the best contact balance I've ever seen from a high schooler. It's some of the stuff he does is not humanly possible. He has these bow legs, and I'm pretty sure that's why. I think that allows him not to tear his ACL when his legs are in these weird positions, and he's got 3 defensive linemen laying on his back. It's truly ridiculous some of the stuff he can do on a football field. He's been the second highest graded running back in the entire in the Power 4 this year. Ahmad Hardy, Usman Kroma, Jeremiah Love. That's obviously sample size, and that's another conversation we need to have. This guy should not be getting 6 touches in a game. The Devi guys, they love him. They love to interact with my posts about Kroma. But that's a guy who, and he's not a quarterback, but sort of like DJ Lagway did with Billy Napier, if you start feeding Kroma and he continues to keep this up and he can become more of a national name, that's a guy who can help keep your job if you keep him around.
To me, Clay, not to cut you off, but he can be a version of what Mark Fletcher is for Miami. I think he can be a tone setter, and he can be someone that, he may not be busting off, 20, 30-yard runs, but he's going to wear you down over the course of the game. And even if the biggest hole in the world is not there, he's going to be able to make something out of that. And again, that physical factor is just something that I see kind of missing watching Florida State. Is they're obviously relying on a lot of the bells and whistles, but you got a guy like Kroma there, and I understand he's a freshman, but I think you got to lean on him a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And that's not just for this season. I'm talking about just in general with the program, because I think and we're comparing to Miami because we have an up close look at it and just seeing from a distance. Like, I don't know how many guys you worry about if you're playing against Florida State in terms of who can punish you, who can really be a physical presence out there. And without a doubt, we understand Chroma can be that.
There's him leapfrogging guys watching his high school highlights. I think what jumps out to me with Chroma, on top of just his size, very unique runner. He's not like I wouldn't call him a natural running back. I don't mean that as a criticism. I just mean he runs different. He's a basketball player. So you don't usually see running backs that are also pretty high-level basketball players. So that's kind of a unique athletic combo, at least for that I've seen. A lot of these running backs are just running backs, right? That's what they do. They might not be the most coordinated guy, tallest guy. This guy's 6'1". You saw him jump over players. I like his receiving ability. We're watching high school highlights, but just at the ACC level, already almost up to 100 yards receiving on 5 catches, averaging 19 a pop. So 6.1 running per pop, 252. I agree. This is a guy to keep an eye on, and he's like a wild horse. He kind of reminds me. I don't know if you remember Ronnie Brown, who played for Auburn. This was before your time, Clay. No. He was a number 2 pick for the Dolphins. Actually, Nick Saban picked him number 2 instead of Aaron Rodgers, who a lot of people thought we'd pick for the Dolphins.
I like that comp.
But Ronnie Brown was not. They had Cardell Williams on that team. It was much more of a classic running back. Ronnie Brown was just a big, versatile guy. Played a lot of, caught the ball, blocked.
Yeah,
just a wild horse, basically, style runner. Ended up being a really good player in the NFL, not like a dominant player, but had a great season where he was one of the best players in the AFC. I'd see some of that with Chroma here, just the way he runs.
I'll have to check him out because I love getting recommendations for comps for him because I've never found something I truly like. He's just such a unique player. I think the basketball is a great point. They haven't really shown it in his passing game usage this year, although he's been extremely efficient when they do target him. It's mostly been like swing passes, stuff like that, where they can get him out in space. He was like a legit deep downfield, like contested catch threat in high school. He's a 6'8" wingspan at 6'1", which would be the longest ever for an NFL running back. It's all over his high school tape. Like, he has legit ball skills at the catch point. They asked him to run real routes downfield. I don't know why FSU didn't tap into that this weekend when they're missing their three of their starting pass catchers, and then Deuce Robinson goes down. No clue, but yeah, this is a special talent, and FSU certainly had to pay up to flip him from Georgia on signing day, and they're gonna have to pay up if they want to keep him, and they're gonna have to start giving him some more touches because if I were him, I'd be pretty annoyed right now. Like, obviously, the other running backs haven't necessarily been an issue, but he might be the most talented player on the team, and he's exceeded expectations early, and they're not giving him the ball. So it's got to be very frustrating.
So comments from the chat. Josh Gross asking where he's from. He's from Leesburg, which is Albany, Georgia area. Sean David saying Ronnie Brown was a tank. The Auburn backfield was down with Cardell Williams and Brown. Well, you saw in those highlights, Chroma was lead blocking too, right?
Yeah.
Which is that's something Brown used to do because he was a bigger guy, like how Chroma is. He'd play with other backs.
Yeah, they would play 2 backs and man, Clay, man, we gotta put Clay on game for some of these early 2000s college football.
Oh, I'm looking at the stats. I'll be watching the highlights.
But you could do that with Chroma. You don't Brown was never the only back. He played with Ricky Williams in the NFL, and that's when he had his most success. So he was always like, it wasn't he was like number 2 back because he wasn't. He was the number 2 pick of the draft. You know, he was a featured player in the NFL, but he was never like, you know, Edgar and James or like LaDainian Thomason, where it's like, hey, you're the running back. You do everything. It's always like there was another guy there that would play at the same time. Maybe he would spell him. Maybe they'd both be on the field and he would be the lead blocker. So there was different ways you would use a Ronnie Brown. I think Chroma, to me, that's who he reminds me of. Yeah, get him a Cadillac Williams, get another running back there at FSU, and I think you'll be in business. Who else in FSU are you looking at as this is a must keep? We got to keep these guys.
So I really only wrote down young guys, but I did like the Pittman and Deuce Robinson if he returns. Shout outs in the comments. I think those guys are clearly difference makers, at least at the collegiate level in Pittman's case, and probably at the next level for Deuce Robinson. But the big next one is Mekhi Dancy. And I wonder how hard FSU is going to have to work on this one. I don't think Dancy wants to leave Tallahassee. He's from Tallahassee. He runs track for FSU. He's very close with the track team. I don't think any school is going to have a ton of luck being able to pluck him away, but for the right price, I wouldn't blame him. And this is a guy who's become one of the most dynamic players in the entire country this year under Gus Malzahn. They've kind of hit a bit of a wall in recent weeks, trying to stick with the end around that had so much success early in the year. But he's not just a gimmick player either. They're using him as like a legitimate downfield threat, because for those who don't know, this is a guy who, as a true freshman in the AC, or as a true freshman on the track, set the all-time ACC 400-meter record. So he's extremely gifted as a runner. He can just stride right past you. He's like 6'1.5", 6'2", played running back as a freshman before making the switch to receiver this year. I think that's definitely a more natural fit, and you see the ability to go up and get the ball that makes you wonder why he was ever playing running back in the first place. He's just kind of unguardable on certain plays, man. Like, if you block up the end around well, nobody's going to catch him. If you let him run a post and he's able to get off the line without getting jammed and they don't have safety help, he's going to run right past you. And even if he doesn't, he showed this in, the Kent State game, but he can go up in traffic and get the ball as well. So this is a really, really exciting player. He was blocking a little bit this weekend. I think teams are going to be calling about Danzy because he's kind of an offensive coordinator's dream. There's so many things you can do and get creative with him.
You watch his high school highlights here, which we're watching. These are from his junior. This is back in 2022, but you obviously see the speed, underrated strength. He's a bigger guy, but he's playing running back, right? Because track guy just got the ball in his hands. How much, now that we've seen him, and I've seen him make a couple plays adjust into the ball, like what kind of upside do you think he has just in terms of like the receiving part of it? We know the athletic part and that he's got size. Like, how good of a receiver can he become? Is he like, think of an Eric Singleton, who's a smaller guy than Danzy, but somebody who came in kind of as that track end around guy who developed as a receiver, maybe took a step back now with Auburn just because of their quarterback situation. But like, do you see him developing into a legitimate, like, hey, this guy's going to be an NFL type wide receiver separate from the gimmicks, the end arounds, the returns, and all that stuff?
I think probably not like a first round pick, because I wonder, he doesn't have the most like lateral agility. They don't really ask him to run a super diverse route tree. When he does run routes, like getting vertical, obviously it works well. He just kind of has to run by the guy. But I think he could certainly be a second or third round pick, be a long-term wide receiver too at the NFL level. And maybe he's just so dominant at what he does that he can be a wide receiver one at the next level, despite running a more limited route tree. I'm trying to think of an example of a guy. I'm sure there are good examples, but I think he certainly has NFL upside if he elects not to go be an Olympian.
I'll say this. I think he does remind me of someone from the past, and I don't know that this guy had a long NFL career, but I think it's kind of to what you're saying. He reminds me a bit of Ted Ginn.
Yeah.
Stronger
version. Yeah.
But that, Ted Ginn had a long NFL career. He played a while, but you always knew he was there for one thing and one thing only, because he could stretch the field and be that deep, be that speed guy. It just wasn't all there consistently for him, and there were some deficiencies, in the game outside of just the speed element. But that was a hot first round pick. So I think that I kind of see some of that in him.
Maybe.
D, I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, he's stronger, I think, down the road because he's like a bigger body guy. But Ginn was a heck of a player in college. And like you said, because that speed factor, it carries you so far. Philip Dorsett, a guy that for the Canes, first round pick, you say disappointing first round pick, but he played a ton. Travis Benjamin. I mean, when you have speed, you last in the league no matter what. Texas has had a few guys that were sprinters that they just last because you just need that speed to back guys up. Joel, I'll transition to the defense with Joel Warren's comment. He says the D-line twins are going to be nice, at least one of them. These are guys we saw in, there you go, Pete, great comp. These are guys, Pete, we saw in camp here down in Miami-Dade County. They're from Norland, which has been a productive program for a lot of NFL teams. Think of guys that have come out of there: Xavier Rhodes, Duke Johnson, Eric Flowers, Dwayne Bowe, just to name a few. Has been a NFL producer. These guys came out of there. We saw them in camp, and my takeaway in Tampa was good competitors. They were in great shape. Right, they were ripped and like physically strong guys at defensive end. I'm surprised they moved to defensive tackles. They looked like full-grown defensive ends, but it turned out they had more weight they could still gain, which they did. But they were big defensive ends in high school. Didn't dominate at the Miami night, the camp we went to, in terms of like their lateral quickness, their pass rushing moves. Like it's not like they were just killing everybody in front of them. I think that's why 247, who was there, didn't maybe bump them up more. But now that we're playing football in pads, and these guys have bulked up a little bit, particularly with Mandrell, we're seeing a lot of playmaking. What do you see from the Twins, and what are we talking about talent-wise?
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting because we heard about them all summer, and it's like, man, is that a concern? Is that a good thing? Does that mean that other guys aren't stepping up? Because Mandrell was 795th in last year's class, 3-star. Daryl was a 3-star for most of the cycle. I think he got a super late bump to being a low 4-star. But these guys were kind of afterthoughts in last year's class. They committed, I want to say, right around the Charleston Southern game. They had just recently decommitted from UCF, but nobody really thought too much about them besides the fact that, it's cool, we'll have two twins who play the same position effectively. You got 3 guys ahead of them who were legitimately big-time recruits, and Kevin Wynn now is healthy. He was a top 85 recruit. He's finally playing. That's another guy who's going to be a priority for FSU in this offseason. But you have guys like L.A. Jesse Harold was a top 225 guy. Tylon Lee as well. Those are like really high upside guys, and they're not out on the field. The Desir twins are, because they came in, the coaches rave about their work ethic and focus, and that's why you saw them playing 30-plus snaps against Alabama week 1. And that's why you see Mandrell kind of dog-walking back Caden Proctor on plays, because they came ready to play, and they're just very serious about football. They have such they've prepared themselves so well physically. I think you were talking about they're ripped. Like, I don't know how much more weight they're going to put on, but it's going to be good, because right now they've put on like 20 pounds since getting here, and they look just as ripped. They've kind of moved Mandrell inside, and he has really thrived there. He plays all over the line, but he has legit been like these 2 might be like actual draft prospects on the defensive line. And Daryl got the start against Miami, so they have a lot of faith in these 2. And I imagine if they didn't already get a pay bump this offseason after they saw him in the spring, I don't know what they're making now, but they're not going to be eating Chick-fil-A whatever next year. It's going to be fine dining only for the Desir twins.
Hey, listen. I love Chick-fil-A. I'll have Chick-fil-A if I had millions of dollars. Just going through it, Clay, I'm thinking about it, and you're mentioning this, but this is Florida State. They've got some decisions to make here, obviously, with Norvell, but man, these are not going to be cheap players to retain, like, at all. No. We're talking about Danzy. Danzy is going to be one of the most highly sought after players in the country if he hits the portal. I agree with you. It'll be interesting there with the Tallahassee stuff. But yeah, the Zier twins, you and I have been fans of theirs for a while, and I'm with you, Clay. I think their trajectory is even higher than I could have imagined at this point, because I saw them developing into good players, but they're ahead of schedule to me. This is what I would expect them to kind of look like after a redshirt year or after a year of development. So impressive prospects moving forward.
Yeah, and people are going to have their eyes on the rest of that defensive line class that maybe hasn't played as much. I wasn't the biggest fan of the L.A. Jesse Harold, who they flipped late from LSU, but he was a highly ranked recruit. He didn't really attend any camps, and they don't have any verified measurements on him. So you would see anywhere from like 6'3" to 6'6" on different sites. And still, he was ranked very highly on every site because of his perceived athleticism. And I agree he looks athletic on tape. That's a very fascinating recruitment to me. He was 215 pounds when he came in. He's like 260 now, so that's encouraging. It seems to be good weight. I'm very high on Tylon Lee. He was kind of a late bloomer for pace out in Milton. He had 40 tackles for loss his senior year. He was a 5-star for 1-3, I think.
We were very high on him, D. We actually
loved this game.
Miami liked him a lot last year. He was a bit of an unorthodox. He was playing all over the line. I forget what his size. He was a little bit shorter, right?
Well, he grew like 3 inches his senior year.
Yeah. So that's so. I remember watching the senior tape, and D, you and I were like, man, I don't know how this guy is. You're right. It was on through. I don't know as a 5-star. That's a good piece potentially moving forward, but we haven't seen it yet, right?
Yeah, no, I think there were some maturity concerns when he came in, but he's certainly a guy that other teams are going to have their eye on. And now Kevin Wynn's finally been getting into the mix as he's back healthy. He had a costly penalty against Miami, but that's kind of to be expected with a true freshman. And then the only other guys I have down here are Amari Williams, who's the second-year former, really he should be in his first year right now, former 5-star before reclassifying and joining FSU last year. He's got NFL bloodline. Shout out Mo Williams, legendary UK running back, is his father. My dad's favorite player, one of them. So got to give the shout out there. But Amari Williams is one of the most physically gifted players on this roster. He came in as an athlete. He played tight end last year for FSU. I don't know if that was the best idea. I think now we're seeing him with his hand in the dirt defensively. He brings just a different level of juice that you're kind of lacking in that defensive end room right now. And you have like a guy like Landon Thomas at tight end. It just didn't make sense to me. But he's a supreme athlete, had some crazy testing scores in high school, big frame, can continue to add, I don't know, another 20 pounds or so. And I think the best is yet to come for Amari Williams. And he might have the highest upside NFL-wise of any of these guys we've mentioned.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Young guy too, right? How young is he?
He's only I think he's maybe 19 now, but since he reclassified, he's definitely young. And then the last guy, this is just a personal favorite. I had to shout him out. I kind of went to bat for this guy when he committed. They flipped him from FIU. The trolls were out. He was not a top 1,000 player. And I tried to tell people, guys, this is – look at that. You knew. I mean, first of all, he's not going to be bad with a nickname like Sandman. I mean, that's just common sense. But you don't see guys who – and granted, he has only played against the two terrible opponents on FSU's schedule. But he came in and he was more than serviceable. He was good. And he's only 6 foot, half an inch. He's probably not even 6'1", but he has super long arms, really big hands, and he just plays with so much physicality. Former really high level wrestler.
Yeah, that's
went
what
to
I was going to
Coco.
say.
I think he had an 85% win percentage as a wrestler.
Yeah, I was pulling that up while you were talking.
It's tough to find true centers, and I think
Florida State's done a good job of it.
Yeah,
Florida State's doesn't. I mean,
look, I found a tweet. I found a tweet from somebody you might know that explains all this right there. There he is.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I was I wrote a 3-page scouting report on him when he committed. He's one of my favorite high school offensive linemen I've evaluated. I think that was definitely a good find by Herb Hand after making it to FSU.
And there was, I don't mind, it was on this guy early. He was coming to Oregon right early in the process.
Yeah, yep.
Wasn't there some, I won't say off the field, but maybe the school didn't work out for him at one of his schools that he was at,
he kind of got forced out. He got into an argument, I believe, with his head coach at his prior school. And so he had to make a late shift the summer before his senior year to Coco. And I think Oregon was kind of just we're good. So parted ways.
But if you're FSU, I think you need to evaluate and find guys on the roster like this that may not be them. We're talking about Danzies of the world, the Desires. We know that they have kind of put themselves on the map now. But guys like Thompson that you feel like can be building blocks with this year, like a Tylon Lee, like we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like that may not be contributing right now, but can be pieces for the future here. And aren't going to be costing you an arm and a leg to keep either.
That's the other thing. You got to find a bargain when you're going to have to be replacing probably a lot of the roster. So this is a guy, I think he could potentially be your starting center next year if he's back. So we'll see. Hopefully this doesn't, put him on other coaches' radars or anything if they're watching, but
stay away from the Finks guy. Hey, appreciate you, Fink. Over 2,000 on for Group Chat Sports. Remember to find the channel. Just write Group Chat Sports onto YouTube. You'll see the logo right there with the text message. Like and subscribe. Over 2,000 subscribers. Over 2,000 on right now. We're putting out this kind of content all year, every single week, multiple times a week. So you're going to learn. If you want to keep track of who's where, who's next, who's up, Group Chat Sports, my man Fink, Peter Ariz, like and subscribe. Appreciate you. And we'll see you later.
See ya.